Yeah. We won't bow down. Yeah. Yeah. They shut the gate too fast. Call it peace, call it class. But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Names get tossed like stones from a driveway built on loans. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than whitewashed dreams. We belong where we stand, no permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you when the pattern keeps on showing. Every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one, the voices rise till the whole thing can't disguise. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down.
What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. And as you all know, my name is Troy Bradshaw, but I go by the Juice. Big welcomes, guys. Big welcomes. Good morning, those of you guys tuning in tonight here. Hope everybody, of course, is having a great Thursday evening going into a Friday morning. What happened to Nolan Wells? And we won't stop. We can't stop supporting the NOLAN WELLS case along with the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, I won't be diving too much into the Nancy Guthrie case tonight. We'll be covering the NOLAN WELLS case as we have been for the past couple of weeks. And as we will continue to cover these cases here. Not too much development when it comes to the Nancy Guthrie case. As I've recently heard that task force was out there. I also heard that sheriff or task force was recently out there today, sometime this morning. I think one of the neighbors had reported that. Anyways, I had some things that I wanted to address tonight, and I think they're rather interesting based on a little bit of research that I did. And I was kind of going over some of the reports revolving around Nolan Wells, looking at all the conflict, the confusion. This case has been crazy, guys, by far. This case has been confusing. This case is so confusing. And then when you kind of think about the Nancy Guthrie case, I mean, it's kind of confusing as well because there's so many things happening in a short period. Nancy's now a longer period, but it's still so many things happening. Not only is it difficult to remember everything that takes place in these cases, but it's hard to make sure you have all the facts in front of you. So be careful who you listen to, be careful where you get your facts from. But there's also been a lot of misleading things in this case as well, revolving around the timeline. As you know, the timelines change a numerous amount of times. And then there's been confusion amongst the family members and friends as far as what happened to Nolan Wells. The stories have been conflicting like no other, and they continue to conflict. I think at the beginning we were very, very confused as to not only when they discovered the body. Initially, it was supposedly July 7th, but it was actually July the 6th. I think people were a little bit confused as far as who discovered the body. A lot of people were saying it was the Cajun Navy. It was not the Cajun Navy, and that's one thing that this case shares. That's that it shares with the Nancy Guthrie case, because this sheriff, law enforcement here out in Mississippi, does not want any involvement with the Cajun Navy as of right now. So they've been rejected to help in the Nolan Wells case. They have not really been able to assist like they would like to. I think that they want to kind of not necessarily be in charge, but they want to completely take over the, in the beginning at least, they wanted to be the one leading the way when it comes to the search. And I don't know what else, but the Cajun Navy is not the one who discovered Nolan Wells' body. And I wanted to talk a bit about that, because there are certain things we need to address revolving around that. So Nolan Wells' body was discovered on the northwest tip of Horn Island. That's what has been reported. So who discovered Nolan Wells' body? So that was a National Park Service ranger that found him around 8:40 a.m. So this was in the morning on July 6th, after 2 days of searching. So the area is mostly sand and dense brush. So it looks like small trees, I guess, but it's more like little tiny looking bushes, sort of. I don't know. Never been to Horn Island, so I couldn't tell you. I know it's not surrounded by much of anything but dirt. And it looks like it's got these like little lakes within the island. So search teams located him just above the high tide line on the northwest side of Horn Island. Investigators noted the body was partially covered by sand and vegetation, consistent with the wind and tide movement. So I wanted to address this tonight because the fact that it mentions that Nolan was supposedly, from what it sounds like, they're saying that he washed. So he was found up on shore. So it sounds like he was, they specifically said it, that he washed up or reached land before passing it. And the reason why that's important is because we know that, based on what we heard, because a lot of us probably haven't been to Horn Island, that currents can get a little bit crazy. I guess crazy enough for you not to want to be there. So again, I'm going to read this again, and I want to talk a little bit about the audio calls tonight. We're going to address quite a few things tonight. Not too many things, okay? We won't be on too long. However, I'm going to read this one more time. When they found Nolan Wells on Horn Island, it states that he washed up or reached land before passing. Now, when you think about that, what comes to mind? Does it sound like that Nolan Wells was on Horn Island? Does it really sound like he was on Horn Island? I mean, if he washed up, before passing it, And again, due to currents, your body's going to move and travel through water. Anyway, I'll share my thoughts. It sounds like to me, and I'm going to be honest here because that's how I like to be, straightforward and honest. It sounds like he was not on Horn Island, folks. It sounds like to me, not only was he not on Horn Island, but it sounds like he wasn't even, it sounds like he was on the boat. It sounds like that's where Nolan Wells was at. And these details aren't coming from me. This is what was reported. So I guess don't quote me on it too much here. But it does sound like to me he was not on Horn Island. Now, his body was found on Horn Island. Reason why I'm addressing this, because I wanted to mention something based on a little research. Because let's just assume that Nolan Wells' body was thrown into the water. Okay? So based on a little research here, it says a body almost never stays in the same spot. It does not reliably come back up in the same place. Once currents pick up to the point where you can't be there, the body is already moving, and the movement becomes unpredictable. And we know that's how currents are. So to kind of break it down, if currents are strong enough to push a boat or swimmer, they will move a body. Bodies in water kind of behave like that. So they behave like a slow, heavy object with drag that kind of gets pulled in a current direction, along with wind and tide cycles. So if the current is strong enough that a person can't be there, again, the body will not stay in the same spot. Bodies do not float immediately. This is the part most people misunderstand. So phase one, sinking a body sinks because lungs fill with water, clothing becomes heavy. They say the muscles relax, density increases, and it states that sinking happens fast, often within seconds to minutes. Phase two, drifting underwater. Once underwater, the body moves with current, gets caught in underwater channels, can snag on debris, or it can get pulled into deeper water. It can get trapped in drop-offs, so we know it wasn't trapped if, according to sources here, that his body washed up. So at some point, at least, it looks like the current must have dragged him somehow, some way up, or ironically, back to the island. Or he never left the island, people, I guess, would suggest or assume or guess. I don't know. But anyway, phase three says floating back up. If it happens, a body only resurfaces when gases from the decomposition build up. Temperature accelerates from decay, which it can take up to 24 to 72 hours in warm water, days to weeks in cold water. If not trapped, snagged, or weighted, when it resurfaces, it does not come back where it went down. This is very important to me here. Bodies almost never come back up in the same spot. This is very suspicious. Because if he washed up on that shore, how would he wash up on the shore if he was left on Horn Island? Did he leave with somebody and got into it with somebody else that wasn't a friend? They threw him in the water somewhere near Horn Island, and then his body just washed back up near Horn Island. All I know is due to research that currents are not straight lines. According to resources, it's circular, tidal, wind-driven, depth dependent, constantly shifting. And a body can sink at point A, drift underwater to point B, get stuck at point C, float up to point D. So this is why the water recoveries are so difficult, it states. If currents are strong enough to push you away, they will move a body even more. A human, on the other hand, could swim, grab, stabilize, fight currents, and a body cannot, obviously. So if a person says you can't be in that spot, the current is too strong. That means a body would be swept away even faster and it would not stay there. So, and it would not come back up. It wouldn't come back up there, it says. The only time a body stays in one spot is if it gets trapped, period. Wedged between a rock, snagged, on something. It doesn't even matter. Just snagged on something. Caught in a tree, underwater, pinned by debris. Again, stuck and drop off, held by structure, weighted down. Otherwise, drift is, it's not going to happen. So, by the way, just real quick, the person that Nolan Wells had an altercation with has not been named. So we don't even know who supposedly Nolan got in a fight with on that island. Are they holding this for evidence until we get into the, to be before a grand jury at some point in time? I couldn't tell you. But that's very interesting because we don't know if he was thrown into the water. We don't know if he was left on the island. According to what they've stated here, that they've discovered, it seems like Nolan Wells was thrown into the water at some point. I don't really see it as if he's left on Horn Island. He gets washed away by currents because he died on Horn Island, and then somehow that current could have possibly brought him back. I just don't see that, though. According to my sources here, when upon doing research here, these currents can get up to speeds to about, I think it's stated 2.0. So I think roughly strong enough to move you, strong enough for you to not be there, strong enough for them to end this search early and have to come back after the next day. So I mean, it's very questionable when you think about that. Very, very questionable. So I figured I'd share that with you guys tonight because I don't know if anybody's took the time to do research to see how things work when your body gets dropped off in the water or falls in the water, or whether or not you float to the bottom. If something happens to you in water, regardless, eventually, obviously, we know a body does come back up, but with currents involved, they could take you a long way. They could take you all the way from 10 to 20 miles, according to research. So if that's the case, we know currents were high enough for family to end the search early, and other parties that were there helping out with the search. Why is it so that the body was found on Horn Island if it washed up there? Does it appear that somebody could have brought it back at some point in time? So we watched a very, very important piece, I think, to this case that we watched a video with whom one of the friends, I would say, is a very, very important piece to this investigation. And remember yesterday I mentioned that they took this video down. And I'm telling you right now, this kid right here, Javon, is definitely a close friend. I don't even question it. I can just tell he's a good friend, a best friend, or a very close friend. They've got pictures together from childhood or younger days, they look fairly young, all the way up until now. Also, another thing is, this is the only person, along with his mother, that Nolan Wells' mother has shown that she's interacted with and talked to. Also, something tells me that Nolan Wells' mom and Javon's mom are somewhat friends. They have some type of friendship because she took it upon herself to go over there and get the keys are Nolan Wells' belongings. And we watched this yesterday. I gotta show it again because this is a very, very important video. I'm telling you guys, this video. They took it down along with the TMZ video, but this video is going to be very important, I think, to this case here. And so is Javon, because I could tell. I'm telling you right now, Javon is a good friend. I think Javon's talking already. I think he's already spoke, and you know, he's the only one out of the friends that have been questioned that knows. That sounds like he knows Nolan Wells very, very well. It sounds like he and Nolan had a real connection. In fact, he's the only one of the two who said that he, you know, when they got to the island, that Nolan Wells told him that he loved him, or they said that they loved each other in all reality. Let's take a look at this again. I mean, because this video it goes a long way. I'm telling you right now. It took 15 minutes, guys, once they got there, to get his belongings back. Once the mother of Javon got there, and there was a little bit of an issue when they got there to get the cell phone. Not only that, after it took 15 minutes, there was a girl who, because she spoke to a guy, it seemed like, at the door of a friend of Nolan's friends, or one of Nolan's friends, and he stated that some girl was getting the phone, that she'll be back out with it, or she'll be out with it in a minute. Who's this girl? Who's the girl that went and got the phone and gave it to Javon's mom? Who is this girl? Let's run the video here.
A lot of praying, a lot of just leaning on each other in this moment, and just taking it day by day. That's really all we can do right now. It's been hard. You know, every day is different, and really every second is different, which is something people need to understand. Grief is not one emotion, right? It's multiple emotions, and they're all happening at the same time. And so it's just like, 1 minute I can be I can be okay like this, and I can talk about it. And then the next minute I'm breaking down in tears, because it's a constant reminder. Because if I'm being honest, we really just have not had time to fully grieve with everything that's going on.
This is your baby, and everyone must understand that. And Javon, I want to come to you because, I mean, you're his friend. You were on the island on the 4th. You were on a different boat. Do you recall seeing him at all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about?
One thing I want to point out in this video real quick here, because somebody in the chat mentioned, because when he says that he did remember seeing him, his mother seems like she's not too happy with him saying that he did see him. I don't know if she thought that could get him in trouble, or somehow maybe incriminate him. But somebody in the chat yesterday had mentioned the fact that he, that their arms are moving. Now, their arms are moving, but you don't hit somebody's shoulder like that by accident. Not only that, I do want to point out one thing I didn't point out yesterday, was look at the way she repetitively blinks once this happens. So she'll kind of blink like that. So just kind of pay attention to the little details, and it kind of, explains things. And I think they should probably get somebody that could analyze their body language, mainly specifically the mother's body language, but his too, because he looks absolutely scared. This kid looks scared for his life, but he cares. You could tell this kid, and all of them, but you could tell him specifically, he has a good heart. Like, he really loves his friend. And you can just tell he really has been literally traumatized from this situation. He's hurt. He's definitely hurt. Which is one of the few. I could truly tell. I could see it in his eyes. I can tell just by the way he's looking. But look at the way she blinks after she hits his arm.
Friends that people are saying of how he was separated from the group? Friends that on the 4th, you were on a different boat. Do you recall seeing him at all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are seeing? Tell me what you saw.
Yes, ma'am. I did see him.
Strange to you about the difference that people are saying of tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated from the group all that day?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying? Tell
She's
me what.
never blinking
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that throughout this video, and the one time she does is when she hits him in the arm. Just wanted to point that out. Let's keep it moving here.
I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated?
Yes, ma'am. I did see him when I was out there on the island.
Can you tell me what you saw? Does anything seem strange to you about the difference that people are saying of how he was separated from the group?
No, ma'am. I don't think that Nolan would say, "Hey, bro, I'm staying with this girl on the island. Y'all go ahead and go back," without even bringing it, like not even asking to get his phone back. You know what I mean? I don't think that any of that.
What makes you so sure about that? Because I mean, obviously you've been with him, you spent a lot of time with him. Did you know him to be someone to leave his phone or even say, "You guys go without me"?
Never. I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. That's always how he's been every single time.
You know, this friend of his, Trayston, also told ABC that that video people have been talking about that was said to show some sort of altercation, it did not involve Nolan. He said it was actually him yelling in the video and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We were calming Trayson down. In that video where he said, "Give me my effing phone back," it sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that. But
Javon, I'm so sorry to think about what you must be going through and thinking about what's happened to Nolan. I mean, you mentioned a phone. Tashima, a huge question so many people have is why he would have left his cell phone behind. And you say you were the person who actually went and retrieved that phone for the family. How'd you get your hands on the phone? Where was it?
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, "Hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys?" I said, "Well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown," which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, "Well, Nolan hasn't been." So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, "What? Are y'all serious?" He was like, "Yes." And so Christine intervened in the conversation, said, "Nolan has not have been heard from since he left the island." So Javon was like, "Well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then." Again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, he didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said, "Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on." So he said, "Hey, Jalen, Mom on the phone." So he was like, Jalen, like, "What's up, Mom? What's going on?" I was like, "Hey, have y'all heard from Nolan?" They said, "No, we have not heard from Nolan."
But where was the phone?
So I was like, "Well, okay." So that's when we started checking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place.
So this is very, very important. Very important here. So right here, she states that the phone location, according to Christine's, which is Nolan's mom, location is different from the location that the friends seem to have on Snapchat. So the Snapchat location and the Life 360 location are completely different. Now, we don't know this, but I question it. Was his phone intentionally turned off? Probably not, because they were able to still get the location that led them to the house. So that's out for me. Was the location specifically turned off for a specific app? Sounds more logical, because I and I don't know specifically what phone he has, but I would say, it would have to be that, because if a location is turned off on an iPhone, then for me personally, from, at least I don't think any location would work on any app if the location setting alone is turned off. So that leads me to believe that the phone, they turned off the location on a specific app, which was the Life 360 one, or that may have been deleted, but we know it probably wasn't deleted because she was able to still, somehow track his location. But, if they were getting two different locations, then apparently the GPS timeline must have ended at some point for Nolan Wells' mom, because she wasn't able to get his most recent location. Hope that makes sense. So that's very, very interesting. They have two different locations. 360 different, Snapchat's different. And the one location that led them to the phone actually is the Snapchat location. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's really questionable, because both of those locations should have been accurate. They should have been the same. Wow. And that just hit me in the wrong way. Not only that, like, why would it take 15 minutes to go get a phone? Mind you, these guys just got done partying, getting drunk, probably probably doing drugs. And she explains when she gets there, lights are off, they're sitting, kicking back, look like they were probably watching a movie. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to think of that, because, after a long night or a long day drinking with some friends, how are you going to end your night? I guess we have to ask ourselves that question. How do you end your night after a long night or a long day, out with friends drinking? How does the night end? I had to reflect on that for a minute, because I'm going to bed. I'll probably hang out at home for a little bit, maybe watch some TV, maybe. I guess it depends on what you did that night. But personally, I'm probably going to bed once I get home after drinking, and Lord knows how intoxicated these boys were. I guess that would determine what they did that night. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it just seems like, they were reflecting on the night. And then she describes that there were a fair amount of people there. So it seems like they might have gotten together to reflect on the night. And why did it take so long to report him missing? Why did it take until 11 at night for them to come to realization that he hasn't came home? Why no checkup on him prior to leaving to make sure that he had a ride? Oh, I forgot. They left him without his phone. Not only that, if he would have gotten a ride home and no one was home, he wouldn't even have been able to get into his own house either. I just don't like that. Let's continue this.
Like, well, okay, so that's when we started tracking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one or two there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to.
Mind you, when you look at a Snapchat location, and obviously a lot of these guys, share locations amongst one another, or people just keep their locations on when it comes to Snapchat. And she clearly states that it shows a lot of people. She didn't say that there were a lot of people there when she got there, but she said on Snapchat that it showed there were a lot of people there, which is interesting. Why would there be a lot of people there at this house after they just had went out? Were they going back there to have a party? Maybe so. Maybe so. Or they were reflecting on what happened, trying to figure out what to do. If that came down to it. But it's what it seems like to me. But I don't know. It's just questionable, though. Let's continue.
We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Lights off,
Did
watching
they
TV.
Immediately give
Knock
you
on
the
the door.
phone? 'Cause
Lights off, watching
knowing that
TV.
phone was
It
there.
took about 15.
And one more question. Did it take 15 minutes? Did they spend that 15 minutes deleting stuff in the phone? If it turns out that this stuff was really deleted, I cannot wait for the digital evidence, man. I really can't. But, I question that. In that 15 minutes time that it took them to get the phone, did they spend that time deleting this? Deleting, stuff in Nolan's phone? And Javon seems like he's probably familiar with everybody, so he's going to know if he's speaking and talking to law enforcement. He's going to know, ideally, who would have the password if Nolan Wells had a password.
And they did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone because I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said it was when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me. So
Christine,
when they brought the phone back,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear that.
when they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get it. I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone.
As soon as we got out there, he told me
The girl is going to get the phone. Who is this girl? Who is the girl that brought the phone? No, Nolan is missing. They have his phone. Why not call his mother and tell his mother they still have his phone? Why did they have to find out that that phone was even there?
he loved me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. His story gets more interesting every single day. And even going back and reviewing stuff, it just gets even more interesting as time goes on here. By the way, there's been a lot of confusion when it comes to the lawyers that some of these boys have. As far as I know, Katie still hasn't got a lawyer yet. I have yet to hear anything about Katie getting a lawyer. I keep hearing rumors that they hired one of the boys have a lawyer that was represented by Donald Trump. From what I've researched, it's saying that there isn't any lawyer that's represented Donald Trump that's representing the boys. Latino is not part of Donald Trump's legal team, which is Bart's lawyer. And we're about to get there right now because Bart's lawyer spoke out today, actually, and that was on Chris Cuomo's show. I think people are confused online because there's been a lot of social media posts that have been mixing up names or claiming that Latino has done political work in Mississippi and he is Trump's lawyer. But according to my research, that is not true. I guess I'll dig in a little deeper to see if he was a lawyer for Trump. However, from what I've seen, he's not. Now, there, as of for Tristan, his attorney hasn't been publicly confirmed. As of Warren, his attorney still yet to be publicly confirmed either. I think that the attorney, for whomever it is raising money for these guys. Otherwise, I think it's the father who's actually raising some money for these boys to be able to, come up with the funds to be able to represent themselves and defend themselves in the courtroom. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think this guy has history as a lawyer with Donald Trump. Let's chime in on this real quick.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. All it literally means is somebody that speaks Latin, which, as you well know, originated in Rome, so it's a commoner's last name. Also happens to be the word associated with an entire ethnic group, so it's confusing.
It works a lot of different ways. Let's leave it as that. It's adaptable. So before we go broad,
So this is Bart's. This is who's representing Bart.
Go narrow. Is there anything new in terms of your client and your pursuits?
No, I mean, look, we're monitoring the things that are being said across social media. I think in the next week, there'll be additional activity around some of the accounts that have sort of driven some of the most, what we believe are egregious narratives around my client. I think the reality is that the internet is fickle. And so at some level, as other people insert themselves or other names come out, the internet has a way of rotating between people, and they're assigning different people culpability based on the day.
So to review, your client was there that day, was not an intimate, was not part of the group that has been framed as being with, framed meaning pictured with Nolan Wells. He was on the boat. He was heard. He was witnessed assisting his buddies who had a problem with water getting into their boat. They called CTO during that call. There is now a version of the call that seems to depict a chaotic scene happening at the same time as the caller's calm kind of pro forma phone call with CTO, which is an assistance service for boaters, about him taking on water. Your client wound up fixing that problem for them. But first, what has been alleged by these accounts that you are monitoring?
So just for the record, we did not discover who Bart was until we heard that audio call, which to me makes the audio call a little bit more legitimate. Now there's been a lot of conflict online. There's been a lot of controversy online revolving around this audio call, simply because the time frames are the duration of the call versus so the enhanced call versus the original call are they're not the same length. However, no one at the end of the day has the original call. Okay, the original call is in no one's hands. They have not publicly released the original CTO call. Not only that, the call is 8 minutes. So if anybody has the original call, that's how long it would be. About 8 minutes long. We have 37 seconds? We don't even have the full call. So as to why people are comparing the two as if, one's longer than the other, I guess, but we don't even have the full thing. Now, hopefully that comes to light. I don't know if they're going to be waiting to, show that before a grand jury. I have a gentleman, though, that had something very interesting to say when it comes to that call, based on how it would be taken up in court. He also mentions the fact that Trump hasn't really acknowledged this audio call that's been enhanced that, picks up on what's going on in that background when we listen to that audio call. So, he does state that, Benjamin Crump is a very smart guy, smart enough not to express whether or not that he's going to utilize this call in court. We'll get there in a minute. I got to play that video, but let's just chime in on this real quick here.
About the involvement of your client.
Yeah, so let me back up and just clarify when we say the boat, that could be confusing to some people. I mean, there were hundreds of boats that were out near Horn Island that day, hundreds of people that were out on Horn Island that day celebrating the 4th of July. It's a big holiday weekend. Within a sort of confederacy of friends, there were 3 boats that went out. One of them was piloted by my client, who piloted the boat out and then back to his house. At no point was Nolan Wells, the young man who tragically lost his life, on my client's boat. Around 4:30 that afternoon, One of the boats experienced some problems with its bilge pump and started taking on water. One of the individuals on that boat called my client and asked for help. He proceeded to give help, in part by getting on the transom of the boat and helping to remove the plug at the back of the transom of that boat. For people that don't boat, that may not make, that may not be something they understand, but literally they were just opening up a hole so water would drain out, is the short way of saying this. And then my client got back on the boat that he was piloting and towed the other vessel for a short distance, allowing that water to run off.
You guys know I'm always looking for simple things that can help me stay on top of my game, especially when
we'll skip through this here. And of course, this is his attorney representing him, so he's going to give us, stuff too that, he's going to give us stuff that, not only protects the client, but that favors, his alibi as far as why he was there.
Wells, except for this. Let's go there because that's what a podcast is about, is depth. This is completely irrelevant to the events surrounding Nolan Wells, except for this. If Brad, in quotes, or Bart, in quotes, or Billy, in quotes, because your client is referred to by multiple different names, not by you, not by him, but by people on the internet.
Sure.
If he was not killing Nolan Wells, what else was he doing? This is what we understand. Why would you pull the plug out of a boat? Wouldn't that make it sink? No, depends on the configuration of the hull and the placement of the plug, because sometimes, especially with smaller boats, if they're taking on water, let's say from 20 people.
A good point to the person in the chat stating that the person could have face recognition. Perhaps they had Nolan Wells' phone. However, they would have had to delete that on the boat rather than waiting until they got back to the house, because, obviously phones eventually go off unless he was, he had his phone set to never sleep, meaning having that screen turn off after a certain amount of seconds or minutes. So we don't know. However, yeah, good point.
Depends on the configuration of the hull and the placement of the plug, because sometimes, especially with smaller boats, if they're taking on water, let's say from 20 people drinking beers sitting on the back of it at a party, it can overwhelm a bilge pump that is old, not properly maintained, or has a float switch that gets stuck. And any of those things can happen and you are in a bad position. However, if you know what you're doing, you can pull the plug and then drag the boat so that it goes fast enough that it rises above the level of where the hole is. So instead of allowing water to come in, it allows water to drain out. And then you put the plug back in nice and quick, and you don't have water in the boat anymore, but you do have to address the bilge pump, which you do at a later time. That is an operation that a lot of boaters know, a lot of boaters can do, and that is the involvement that you are saying, counsel, your client had on that boat as it was leaving.
Yeah, that's correct. And the end result.
Are you impressed that I nailed it, by the way? Are you impressed that
I
I nailed
want to know
it?
who you've been talking to. Are you a boater?
I am a Coast Guard captain, certified, and I have been talking to all of these different people and families and people close to the investigation. And a lot of this is new vocabulary, new vernacular. A lot of people see this story very one-dimensional. Mississippi, racist, one black kid, a lot of white kids, the system protecting, and none of this boating stuff makes sense. The boat wasn't sinking. That's a lie to cover a murder.
And real quick, just to add real quick, why was Bart's name hidden until we've heard that audio call, though? Why didn't we hear about Bart until the audio call? And what made the people that were interviewed not mention his name until then? I don't think anybody really mentioned his name as far as I remember. Maybe he did, and I just overlooked it and just didn't realize. But the world, the public, did not know about Bart until we heard that call. Why is that?
I understand voting differently. I understand investigating differently. I know the operation you're talking about. It is absolutely plausible that this is what was going on. And there are multiple witnesses who say this is exactly what they witnessed going on.
And let's be very clear about the multiple witnesses, because I think there have been some narratives set based on pictures that are not not accurate.
Good point, Summer.
So very early on, the narrative that was set was
Misty, big welcomes, by the way.
With Nolan.
Shouts to everybody tuning in, guys, by the way. I'm sorry I didn't say hello to those of you guys all chiming in. Good to see you guys, man. Big welcomes, guys. Much love to you all being here and chiming in on the channel.
And 3 friends that are white on the back of a boat. And I think a lot of people developed the thought, okay, 4 friends went out on a boat together.
3 came back.
Only 3 came back. And they went to some desolate place. The reality is they went to a place with hundreds of people. There were way more than 4 friends. It was a mixed race group. So it wasn't just that Nolan was the only black friend in the group.
Which explains some of the pictures out there of mostly white party goers with a black guy, and they just assume if it's a black guy, it must be Nolan. He was the only one. The pictures are not accurate. They're not even, some of them are not even from that day. And you're saying that your client says Nolan was not the only black guy.
Well, I don't know that my client is saying that. I think a lot of witnesses are saying that. I think Trayston Shepard, who is black, has said that he was out there. I think Javon Williams, who is black, has said that he was out there as part of that group. And look, I want to be very careful not to name people who haven't already inserted themselves by talking to media, because this is a witch hunt. I mean, at this point, any name that comes out, people assume that person is a new culpable suspect. But both of those gentlemen have chosen to talk about what happened while they were out there and to make the point that Nolan was, in fact, not the only black friend in that group.
Understood.
I say all that to say that there have been narratives set throughout this discussion that are false narratives and that have allowed people to develop a perception of what Horn Island would have looked like or what Nolan would have experienced that is in no way accurate.
Understood. Why you're proffering that, and consistent with what I understand of the investigation. Now, have to say, frustrating. The unknown is very powerful as a narrative device, especially within the true crime space, maybe uniquely so. The investigators, since the initial, what I say, in my opinion, was the wrong way to come out of the box in this situation, after that, they have said almost nothing because it's all being presented to a grand jury. That level of secrecy is rare, but is righteous. That's how it should be until the grand jury figures out whether it's going to hand up an indictment or not. And then the investigators have more of a clear path, as do anybody who wants a FOIA request or to get more information. So that is a semi-secretive proceeding. The fact that nothing's coming out is not necessarily suspicious.
So real quick, somebody said that this lawyer did represent Trump. If he represented Trump, when did he represent Trump and what for did he represent Trump? Because according to my research, I've yet to find anything that this lawyer specifically has represented Donald Trump. So yeah, let me know, correct me if I'm wrong. But I haven't really been able to find anything, and maybe my, resources are just not, digging up anything, I guess. I don't know.
The early indication, I think, triggered a lot of people. I think rightly so, especially Nolan Wells' family. But that's my opinion. I put it to the side. Germane to your case or your concern, that conversation from the sweetened audio where there's one voice calling Cito, I have an account, we've got a little problem. Kid doesn't sound panicked. Is very pro forma, saying he has an account because they charge you different things if you have an account or if you don't. And then there is a background conversation which sounds terrible.
So correction, it says that he did represent Donald Trump in a high-profile legal battle against media and organization like CBS, Paramount, the New York Times, and the BBC joined the broader legal defense of efforts for the young men tied to the Nolan Wells case. I just don't know what he really did. I guess he's a Trump affiliate, defamation lawyer. So I guess, I don't know. This is really not making much sense to me. So he's an affiliate, or did he accidentally represent Donald Trump? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, because it states that he did, that he's a prominent defamation lawyer who has represented Donald Trump in a high-profile legal battle against media organizations the New York Times, BBC. And that's according to Facebook, which isn't really a reliable source to depend on when it comes to whether or not it's true. So I still don't know if that's true, because I really don't trust Facebook, and I don't ever go to Facebook to get information there to depend on whether or not it's real. So I'll do a little bit more research on that.
It's like there's blaming and about Nolan waking up, and Nolan may well be there by the nature of this conversation.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
What is your position on the veracity of that sweetened audio?
So let me address a few things that you said there, and then I certainly will address the audio. There were more than 20 people between those two boats that witnessed what happened between those two boats that were on those vessels. There are, in fact, pictures of who was on those vessels and video of who was on those.
And by the way, not to mention this lawyer, the information that that's given, as there's been a lot of confusion stating, and which is online, which is places like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, that mislead people to believing that this lawyer has been represented by Donald Trump. So I don't know, guys. I think it's just a rumor, and people are really starting to believe it. But don't quote me on it. I'm doing research on it as we watch this video here. But so far, it seems like that's just been confusion online that people are just throwing out there. Maybe Chris will ask him that question, and we'll get that answer.
Vessels. There were also a lot of people that were in the water. Like when we're talking about the aid that my client provided to the distressed vessel, it wasn't way out in the water. It literally was while they were still anchored next to Horn Island. So
Understood.
You're talking about dozens of people that saw what happened there.
Understood, which makes sense because an experienced boater, which these kids are, they go to the island all the time, they fish all the time, they're around boats. You don't take off if you're taking on water. You try to figure out what it is and what to do about it before you leave. I mean, I've been in exactly that position. It makes sense that it would have happened while they were still stationed.
So, and so let's also, as we talk about the audio, acknowledge what you said about why investigations stay quiet the way that they do. Because I actually think the audio is a great example of why investigations stay quiet. That audio gets released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, a version of it. It's not clear that that was the original audio. And then people take it and try and pick it apart. So you have mentioned enhanced audio and different things that people have heard. It's worth noting that there's been more than one source of quote unquote enhanced audio, that audio appears in different lengths, that different forensic experts have said that there are quote unquote artifacts that were added to the enhanced audio, that music was removed from the enhanced audio. And so all of those things should create a degree of skepticism. The other thing that I would say is that if you listen to even the enhanced audio, and News Nation had a guy on recently.
Yeah, I'm going to say real quick, you can go ahead and quote me on it here. I'm perfectly fine with that because I like to deliver facts. This specific lawyer here has not represented Donald Trump. When you look up his name, yeah, that's the guy's name. Correct. Living Life. That's exactly yes, exactly. This guy's name is Russell Latino. And he's never represented Donald Trump, but that's the confusion between him and the lawyer that you're naming here in the chat there. Living Life. So just wanted to put it out there so there's no more confusion amongst at least the viewers that tune into my channel. This lawyer specifically is a Mississippi lawyer who has never represented Donald Trump.
Robert Freed, who talked about this, who is an audio expert. You know, if you listen to it without the transcript that some people have put on top of it, even the enhanced audio is garbled mess. And so what I would say is, you probably are aware of this. There's all sorts of scientific research on this about the way the human brain processes and offers preference to certain types of input. There's a visual input preference over an auditory input preference. There was a famous experiment done around this, Chris, where two groups of people were put into separate rooms with a noise that didn't say anything. And they were told, one group was said that the noise was the word green needle or words green needle, and the other was told that it was the word brainstorm. And they got put back together, and they both swore vehemently that they had heard either green needle or brainstorm because they had that visual cue.
What is he talking about?
I think there's a reason that reputable outlets have chosen not to run enhanced audio, because if you're a reputable outlet, you try to figure out who put this together. Did they start with the original so that we know it wasn't corrupted from the beginning? Is there evidence of corruption that we can detect? Are the links the same? Does that person have bias? These are the questions you'd want to know before you put something in front of people with a written transcript that tells.
Well, this lawyer should be smart enough to know that this is not going to be the original, because the original is not out there for grabs. It has not been publicly put out there for people to go pull the original audio. Otherwise, we would have the old thing, the entire audio. He should be aware of that. And I didn't notice that until yesterday, but no one has the original audio. They have the audio that was put out by reliable media outlets, one being WLOX. However, we don't have the original audio from CITO itself. Now, CITO, I did do some research, and they do have a YouTube channel. However, they did not release that audio on any platform, to my knowledge. I don't know who they've given some of the audio to, or how it made it out into the public. However, we can definitely figure that out in a moment here. Speaking of the audio, a guy by the name of Jack, I believe Palmer, is someone who kind of analyzes the enhanced audio, and he states that the audio would never come into evidence, which is very interesting. Here's what he had to say here.
CITO phone call. Are you still not convinced that there's something there after listening to that phone call? Or do you think that phone call is authentic?
As to the enhanced video, so here's the legally, the enhancement that we're aware of doesn't come in. It will never come in because she's not taking it from an original sample of the original source. So I just took a moment about chain of custody. Okay, in order to do an admissible enhancement, she would have to have a certified copy of that audio from law enforcement, and then that authenticated original would then have to be analyzed in a way that, you know, presumably can be duplicated, or at least you show us the process. I'm not saying that she did this in this scenario, but I can give you a hypothetical of how that enhancement could come up through non-authentic means. You take a sample where the added audio is already embedded, right? You take a non-authentic copy, right? You alter that copy to embed another layer. Then you take that copy and scrub away the noise to find the layer that was added in, okay? As a defense attorney, that's what I'd be looking for, is that what copy
Kimmy, big
she
welcome,
get.
by the way.
I want to see the quality and the authenticity of the copy she scrubbed before she scrubbed it. I want to reverse engineer it to see where that video was, but it never comes in. It's got to be from a copy that the original is authenticated. She doesn't have that. She doesn't have access to that. And again, I go back to the most learned person in this case on behalf of Nolan is Ben Crumb, right? He is at the foremost. He is the one pulling in the best resources available, right? The best minds available. The fact that he has not come out publicly and brought this woman on his team or acknowledged her publicly and said, you did a great job, thank you, you've helped us crack this case. Again, he's not ruled it out, he's smarter than that. But if he doesn't authenticate it, and that is something that a lot of people are hanging on, that gives me pause. That gives me serious pause. Because he would want to be able to come out and say, guess what I found on the audio? He'd be the first one. He's not done that. And if he's not doing it, I'm not going to be the first one to do it. This woman, it's very problematic to me.
Very, very good point. Very good point. Why hasn't Crump owned this audio and in a way that says, we got something here? Who knows whether or not that audio will be credible now, not just pertaining to the lawyer, but moving forward into court. Who knows? But I guess only time will tell, and we'll see where we go. But to respond to somebody in the chat by the name of Tori, I couldn't agree more with that comment. And I think, it's questionable whether or not if this lawyer that's speaking out on Bart's behalf is he speaking too much? What is he, I think he should have kept it a lot more short, yet he spent about an hour talking to Chris. And I don't know, it's questionable. It is very questionable if this lawyer might have talked himself up a bit too much. And he seems a bit inexperienced to me. He doesn't seem like he's got good experience on his shoulders. I mean, at least enough to, for me personally, to take him up as a lawyer that could represent me. I don't know if that would be somebody I would be interested in as a lawyer. I'm not seeing the, and I could be wrong. My judgment could be wrong, but I just don't see the good in him, as in this is a good lawyer. Like, this is going to be a good lawyer that you better watch out for. I don't see it. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see Bart in time switch up his lawyer and get a different lawyer. But I don't know, man. This is a very unique case. I know that, though. We'll see what happens in time here, but I don't like that lawyer so far. Not a fan of that lawyer at all. And we'll go back. We'll play a little bit more of that video. But so there's a former judge that has recently spoke out. He airs out all the suspicious activity with the NOLAN WELLS case. And man, did this guy have some really good insight to think about. So I wanted to share that real quick and then kind of talk about it here.
Pointing fingers at the friends. From your professional opinion, what makes them look guilty?
I wouldn't say it makes them look guilty, but it definitely makes them look suspicious. The friends did not act as friends normally do. First of all, if you leave your friend back, you're going to know exactly who they stayed with. And from the very beginning, it's been conflicting information. The young lady allegedly was named Katie, and she says allegedly that Nolan told her that he was going back with the friends he came with. Mm-hmm. And those friends are saying that he stayed back with Katie. So one of those two cannot be the truth. And what we do know is that Katie did not lawyer up initially. I don't think she still has lawyered up, but we were told that
thanks for all the jewels, by the way,
friends
guys.
Lawyered up initially. They deactivated their social media, maybe scrubbed some of their social media initially. That's very suspicious. Why would you do that if no foul play was expected or had occurred? Because people drown every year. And if you're just a witness to someone drowning, there's no need to be so afraid or
so fidgety.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of things were going on as this unfolded, a lot of suspicious activity. And I'm gonna kind of highlight a couple of them for you. The first was, his phone and keys were not on his person. How did you feel about that particular information when you got that?
That in of itself, the phone, if you're out boating and the water was so high, you normally would have your phone on a dry location. So you would have left it in the interior of the boat or something. But the suspicious thing would come when if he allegedly told them he was going to go stay on the island with a young lady, he would have retrieved his phone. You know for certain you don't have it on you. Yeah. And so that's one of the first things you're going to do.
I would think I would give you the phone. Hey, yo, here's your phone.
He would have voluntarily went and retrieved it, or his friends would have reminded him of taking it to him before they got on the boat and left the island. They would have seen it. And definitely if they just happened to forget to give it to him, as soon as they got back to land, they would have taken it to his mother or his father and said.
Because were they not he was supposed to be staying at one of their houses, right? Like a sleepover.
He did the night before, allegedly, yes.
So I think to me that was a question. Okay, if he's not gonna go back with y'all, how does he get back to the house?
Mm-hmm.
Like if y'all was his ride, unless somebody else was supposed to be out there, that's where it gets a little blank for me.
Correct. Because his car was still at the friend's house. Yeah.
Right. Another thing that kind of came up, maybe that's considered suspicious, that they didn't let his family know, particularly his mother, know till like 11 p.m. or something like that.
Yes.
That he was missing.
And I didn't understand that either, because if you believe the stepmom, they left Horn Island around 4:30. And so I don't know why.
I think that was the real mom. I think.
Now the judge is a stepmom.
She was out there too?
She didn't go out there. The real mom went out there, but someone released a statement on Facebook, and I believe that was Ashley Cole, that recounted what I believe Warren had told her, Warren Hudson, that they left the island around 4:30. And so
Pretty cookie, big
there's a lot of
welcome. Good to
hours
see you,
that
by
would
the
have
way.
passed between 4:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. So I don't know why they would have waited till 11 p.m. to call Miss Wansley.
Yeah, I think that was something that stood out for me, because it kind of helped support something possibly happening, things moving, things being deleted, if you're kind of getting all that time, that time we don't know what's happening. Now, I also will point out another thing.
Stop it there, pause. So just to address your comment there, I am redeemed. So there's been rumors surfacing due to the fact of whether or not there's been a fight that's taken place with Nolan. At this time, there's no fight video with Nolan Wells fighting. So there's there hasn't been any posts that show Nolan Wells fighting. There has been rumors. There's a video from the boat that there was some type of yelling that took place, which one of the friends by the name of Tristan said that was him yelling. But a lot of people have misidentified the voice as Nolan. However, ABC was the one that confirmed the voice was Tristan. So no fight still as of yet. The rumors still continue to surface. We don't know yet. I'm going to assume that there wasn't any fight with Nolan. It's just a rumor. There's so many rumors and people are just misled. And one of the rumors is somebody said that they saw Nolan on that island after friends left. Still a rumor. That's not true yet. We don't know, but it is going around like crazy. He also stated that Nolan was not even on the island at the moment when he was doing all that yelling, which is very, very suspicious. So when Tristan got into a fight, he stated that Nolan wasn't even on the island at the time. So where was he? And what time was it? And as we noticed yesterday when we watched the video with Warren, he's able to say the exact times of anything for the most part that's taken place. He knew the exact times. How do you know the exact times? You're drunk. You're under the influence of something. You're out having a good time. Nobody cares about time when they're out having a good time. They only look at the time to see if it's close to be time to leave, if they had an arrangement for whatever time that they had planned on leaving, right? So it's very weird. It's very weird. But and the sheriff, nonetheless, the sheriff has publicly asked for any photos or videos with any altercations on the island. So that means that means fights happened, but none of the confirmed footage shows Nolan fighting. So there's no verified video of Nolan fighting at all. And, they only confirmed a fight that involved Tristan. Long story short. So every piece of video evidence, who was actually in each clip was what's confirmed versus rumor or a clean timeline you can use for your thumbnail. Just be careful because there's a lot of people misleading folks and, just throwing things out there that is not true, specifically pertaining to everything that we have in front of us right now. We can't say. So just be careful because there's a lot of rumors that are just going around like crazy. So still yet to get that though. We'll continue this part.
Suspicious is the inconsistencies in their storylines when it first came out, like the timeline. I will kind of give this grace, but Warren's real mother said that they left around 5. There was a DM message that we had covered, and then his stepmother said around 4:30 is when they left.
pause. I got to stop him there real quick because, and this is what I wanted to obviously report tonight too, when it comes to Warren's. So Warren's got a real mom, and then he's got a stepmom that, appear to be involved in his life, of course, considering the fact that they have confused some people because of them my God, I just lost my thought there. So the stepmom of Warren. Okay, so again, Warren's got a stepmom and he's got a real mom. One of the moms, which is a stepmom, is a judge. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. They had different timelines because they were describing different parts of the night. So based on secondhand information, and each one relied on different people's accounts. So when multiple witnesses have particular, like, incomplete or emotional charged, recollections, it kind of splits timelines. And it comes down to, like, who do you believe? But Warren's mom and the stepmom were getting information from different people at different times, through different channels. So that alone created a timeline drift. Okay. So one was talking to Warren's friends, and then one was talking to family members. One was talking to law enforcement. One was talking to, people who were with Nolan. So when we're piecing together a night from a secondhand account timeline, rarely, match perfectly, of course, which is obviously an issue for law enforcement. So each woman was describing a different segment of the timeline. And this, this is the part for most people that they miss. So Warren's mom focused on when Warren last saw Nolan, who Nolan left with, and the social timeline, along with the friend group movements. The stepmom focused on Nolan, when Nolan was expected home, when the phone pinged, when the boys contacted the parents, when the boat was last seen. And then she wasn't describing the same events. So they weren't describing different slices of the night. So that created some contradictions, of course, and they received information at different times. One parent just may have gotten a call at 11 p.m. The other may have gotten a text at like 11:20. So someone else may have said he left at 10, but another said he left at 9:45. You know what I mean? So they, when you combine them, they delayed the calls, they panicked messages, confused teenagers, missing timestamps, incomplete details, and then you get two timelines that don't line up perfectly at all. So emotional stress distorts, recall parents in crisis often. So it's quite common, which is kind of crazy, but I mean, it's true. But that's pretty much what happened there. And what caused a lot of confusion. So let's continue this real quick here.
But I was noticing a lot of inconsistency at times. Were there other things that time-wise that didn't make sense for you?
Yeah, I don't see why the stepmother and the real mother would have different timelines. What did Warren tell them? The truth never changes. And so he should have told them both the same thing. And so that tells me that if they are giving inconsistent statements, that's in line with what his statement is different from Katie's. So it's too many inconsistent statements, and that's how you know somebody's not telling the truth. And now we can't determine who's lying, but somebody's lying out of the group, because all of that cannot be the truth. Somebody has to be inaccurate. So
and that's from your professional background of knowing
correct
that when it's inconsistencies, there's behind that is something else going on.
Yes. And so I had to make decisions in real time as a judge. I would sit there and listen to the evidence from both sides, and then I can make a ruling based on what's more believable than not. What was proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. Another thing that was interesting, because some of this stuff has been like interesting, coincidence, suspicious. It's a lot to take in sometimes. But his body was found in the same area, part of the island, where, where he was docked at, or was ideally last seen, I guess. How do you feel about that? Is that coincidence? Is it, because I thought once your body hits the water, it's supposed to, you get moved, or I don't know.
I'm no boating expert, but I find it suspicious that when the island was searched on the day before, his body was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And then to find it in the place where he was last known to be seen, if that's true, on Monday, 2 days later, that's very suspicious.
Yeah.
Was that body, did it just wash up, or was it planted there that morning?
Yeah. Did you just see the Cajun Navy's report that they put out?
I did see their report initially.
At least what I gathered that stood out for me was they pointed at there was no proof of the Triton boat taking on water. They don't have any, like, outside of the call, there was no other proof to say that it was taking on water. That's what I got from that report, which, I thought was rather interesting. But was there anything out of that report that maybe stood out too?
Yeah, I just found it very suspicious. The whole thing with calling CTO versus calling 911 or calling the Coast Guard if you were sinking, and then the CTO dispatcher asked whoever she was speaking to, did they need Coast Guard, and they said no. And that's not a normal response. If you're sinking and taking on water and about to lose your life potentially, you're gonna want somebody very trained and professional that's close by to get there as soon as possible, and as many people as possible.
Yeah. Because it was interesting, the fact that the grandfather then called the captain directly and said, no, we good. Now let's talk about the call.
Hey, Flicker Faye, much love. Good to see you. I appreciate the $5 super chat, by the way. I hope the night's going real well for you. Much love. Hey, Chris Talks Truth. Good seeing you, man. Welcome in. Shouts Missy plugging in tonight, too. And Miss E. Jones. Good seeing you guys, man. I appreciate y'all being here. Much love, y'all.
This audio call would leak. At first, the majority of us did not catch the background audio. That audio was then stripped, enhanced, or helped so people can hear it. And we hear a conversation that sounds like some foul play is happening. It sounds that way. I think I could say that right. And yeah, what was your reaction to hearing that, the audio recording?
Yeah, when I initially heard the recording, I focused in on the conversation between the dispatcher and whoever the guy was. You can clearly hear what they're saying. I did notice initially that there was some faint sounds, a chatter, but I had not been able to decipher what was said. But when it was stripped by audio engineer or enhanced or without the use of AI, you can clearly hear certain things being said. And that led me to believe, was Nolan actually on that boat.
Want to watch the full interview? Well, it's available now to all Hype Plus YouTube members. Cancel.
Good video, man. I think that guy has some really, really good insight, for sure. Really good insight. I agree with most of the things that he said. I think he's pretty accurate, if you ask me. Good video.
Anytime.
And shouts to that guy too. Hype, what a good channel he's got. Man, 1 million subscribers, man. One day. That's a dream. So I was watching a video earlier, and there was somebody who took the TMZ, which was a body language expert. She kind of says that there isn't any. It's hard to put it in words. So there isn't any signs of foul play. And it's almost like it's true. However, it's obviously, we know it's still yet to be not undetermined. But in the way she puts it, it's like it just really makes sense. So it's kind of like one of those videos you got to watch to really get it, because we won't know until we know. But she's like saying that there isn't, but there could be, but there is. I don't know. It's really hard to put it in words. I mean, it's super hard to explain. So yeah, I'll go ahead and play that video because it's really hard to explain. But there's a body language expert who analyzes the friend's interview, which is very interesting. Things that she points out, and as yesterday we talked about this and watched a gentleman who says that there's a lot of signs in the body language that amounts to deception. So I'm gonna run this video. This might be the last video I play tonight, but I want to run this video real quick here because it's kind of brings up a good discussion based on that interview that we've been talking about. And there's those cuts in the video that we discovered watching somebody last night, and I still can't believe it. I'm really disappointed in Brandon Tatum. As much as I love him, I'm disappointed the fact that he didn't just do that interview from start to finish all the way through without any cuts. It just makes these boys are already being questioned as it is. So why conduct an interview if we're just going to question them even more? Not only that, it's going to get even worse if there's cuts in the video. I mean, I don't think it was a good idea that Warren did this interview, and I don't think it's a good idea that Tatum makes it seem like there's something that he may be trying to cover up for these boys to make it seem like they're innocent, and in reality, we don't even know if they are they aren't. So, but anyway, I want to run this video here with Mr. Harvey Lee and another gentleman that's on the show. I always forget this kid's name, but I really think he's a great when it comes to his interviews and analyzing crime in general. So let's check this out real quick here.
Is on vacation this week, so he has left me hanging here.
Harvey, man, get your voice back, brother.
Okay, that said, everybody is talking about Nolan Wells, the kid who tragically died over 4th of July weekend. And there are multiple investigations going now on exactly what happened. There is suspicion by some that maybe his friends were involved. So Jackson here spoke to a body language expert. And I think this is really interesting because she focused on one of Nolan's best friends.
Right. So Officer Tatum did an interview with Warren Hudson, which is ultimately...
And Hudson's one of his best friends.
Warren's one of his best friends who was on the boat with Nolan around the time of his death.
Right.
And there are a few questions that stuck out to this body language expert that Officer Tatum asked Warren. The first one being, were you friends with him? There's a lot of speculation starting out. Did you even know him? Which he says yes. And Susan Constantine, pretty renowned body language expert, says he's not being deceptive in that regard.
So we have sound on this, and we're using this sort of as a baseline to explain how she reaches her.
Keeping it real, who are those attorneys that you're referring to that were representing Donald Trump at one point in time, who are representing the boys? Because that's a rumor that is not true. There's not an attorney that are representing any of the boys that we have talked about tonight. It's been a lot of confusion online, and people are constantly being misled. So I'd like to kind of fix that if we can. But the attorney that we just played was one of the few that are representing Bart that people keep saying has represented Donald Trump, and that is not true at all.
For conclusions.
Right.
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college, All
right, real quick, because this lady's analyzing Warren here. So she's what she's doing here is she's analyzing his body language. And based off this first initial question here that he gets here, I'm gonna run it back one more time.
Nolan was not Nolan. I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean,
so he states that he could describe Nolan in a million ways. All right, so I'm going to myself, I'm not even going to analyze this whole thing, but just a specific part, I'm going to write down what he specifically describes Nolan as, and see if see if it amounts to anything that revolves around him being a legitimate friend. Because remember, he keeps referring to group. There's no I. There's no really personal relationship that they have, or convinces me that they're close. So I am going to write this specific part down, and I want to see what I really come up with here. And I'm not even an expert, but I just have a feeling that there's nothing that's going to be, let's just do it. I'm going to do it. Let's play this through.
Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school,
Let's run this back.
high school. Not just
To explain how she reaches her conclusions.
Right.
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. You know, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends.
When I looked at his body language there, and also to his statements, as I shared with you off screen, is that I actually ran every statement that he made, even through his body.
College, you know, we elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. You know, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends.
When I looked at his body language there, and also to his statements, as I shared with you off.
I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school, and even our freshman year of college. You know, we talked on the phone all the time.
Why did he add that? I haven't even heard this yet, by the way, guys. I don't even want to hear what she has to say yet. But he states right here that he grew up through elementary, middle school, and he that doesn't even go back to Nolan, because they didn't even go to school. Apparently, according to what he says, they didn't really meet until like freshman year of high school. They don't go way back. So why did he add that part in there to make it sound like that their friendship goes that far back? What in the what? So he says he's not just a friend, he's a brother. And they talked a lot on the phone. That's pretty much all he says. That's it. There's not really much more to solidify that they have a real legitimate friendship, as they are close or best friends. All right, now I want to see what she has to say. But I'm going to have to say that they're not close at all just on that comment alone. And I don't know why he decided to add the part that he, states that he just states his own self. Like he started in elementary and then he went to middle school. And what does those 2 years of school experiences have to do with your friendship when it comes to Nolan Wells? I mean, that was weird. But anyway, let's continue here. Let's see what she says.
We were really close friends.
When I looked at his body language there, and also to his statements, as I shared with you off screen, is that I actually ran every statement that he made, even through Deceptio AI. So I was doing a double check to determine what was the percentage of that statement that was either truthful or not truthful based on statement analysis. So the question was, what was your relationship like with Nolan? And then he went on to describe, that Nolan, I can describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend to me, but he was a brother. So that was really powerful, how he actually internalized that relationship. That statement came up 91% truthful.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Get this lady off. Why did they interview this lady? Get this lady off of TMZ, man. I could have did better than that. No disrespect to this lady, but that is some terrible analyzing to assume, or not even assume, state the fact that he is actually a legitimate close friend based on those specific facts that he states. Are you kidding me? He described Nolan as a brother, not just a friend. That really solidifies that they have a close friendship? That they talk on the phone a lot. That's it. Talking on the phone a lot could be, it could definitely be something that makes them have a real close, genuine friendship. That's all he mentioned, though. No, you couldn't add anything else to prove that you guys have a legitimate close friendship? Are you kidding me? Let's run it.
Okay, so what does that mean? Sometimes they use contracture, sometimes they use odd language, but it doesn't fall into the deceptive category, so it's truthful.
I want to say, just so you know, this is not stuff that's admissible in a court of law, but it's interesting. So that was her baseline. Then we get into this controversy over Nolan's phone.
Exactly. A huge point of contention about this case is things that may have been deleted from Nolan's phone. So Officer Tatum asks him, did you touch Nolan's phone? Did you go through Nolan's phone? Did you delete anything?
And we play that for Susan, and she has an analysis.
Is there any chance or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
Absolutely not. I mean, like I said, there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone, but nothing. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean, no one even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from the boat to the truck. And none of us have access to Nolan's password to get on his phone and delete anything. Absolutely not. And we have no reason to delete anything.
When we look at all of these different statements, most of them were truthful, but there's going to be one that I want to explore more. There is going to be question around the phone. I'm just going to let you know that.
No doubt.
I believe that this is an area that needs a little bit more probing. It needs more. It's not a highly deceptive. It's just comes up as deception as has been indicated in here. So the opposite hand below while maintaining a tense posture, that one never moves. So there's that tenseness there. The head nods no. At not, which is consistent. The vocal tone is slightly elevated and more emphatic in his tone. He says, no one touched Nolan's phone. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there would be no reason for anything to be deleted. That one came up as 83% deception indicated.
Now, again,
you gotta
be
kidding me.
Non-scientific.
Even Harvey's like, no way. Inaccurate. 100% inaccurate. You gotta be kidding me. This lady really thinks. And then not only that, go back real quick. Look at Warren's body language. I'm looking at his body language. You could just tell his body language is not, it's not truthful. It's just not truthful. And it's almost like this was planned for him to prove his innocence. And I hope to God that he's innocent. I truly do. I hope to God that he's not hiding anything when it has to do with his dear close friend. I hope to God that he's not betraying Nolan in any way. Because God is watching and he knows what's going on. But I mean, just looking at him, the way he's speaking, the way he's, the hand gestures, how he's, talking while he's doing these hand gestures and stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, it does not sit well with me.
The opposite hand below while maintaining a tense posture, that one never moves. So there's that tenseness there. The head nods no.
Yeah. So why is there tenseness? Why? I think I'd be very good at doing body language. I'm pretty observant, so I think
there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone.
Or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
Absolutely not. I mean, like I said,
I'd be better than this.
There was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone, but nothing. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean, no one even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from if none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean, no one even was in contact with his phone.
If none of us touched Nolan's phone, there would be no reason for anything to be deleted. So if they touched the phone, then there would be a reason for something to be deleted. I don't really get it. I really don't.
Absolutely not. I mean, like I said,
and then
anybody deleted.
And then the voice even changes, as in, when you have like a stuffed nose, mind you, he's not sick. We know he's not sick at all. But it changes to him talking like this. Like if his nose is stuffed or something, like that's what it changes to. Listen.
deleted stuff from his phone.
Absolutely not. I mean, like
Absolutely
I
not.
said,
I mean,
there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one's
no way,
Any
bro.
chance or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
Absolutely not. I mean, like I said, there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone, but nothing.
And then
if
his
none of us
voice,
had touched
and
Nolan's,
then his voice goes back to normal.
Anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
absolutely not. I mean, like I said, there was no reason for us to get on Nolan's phone. No one touched Nolan's phone, but nothing. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean, no one even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from the boat to the truck. And none of us have access to Nolan's password to get on his phone and delete anything. Absolutely not. And we have no reason to delete anything.
And why is the interviewer at the bottom throwing his hands up? Why is the hand gesture there for? What is that for? Like I don't get that.
But nothing. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there's no reason for anything to be deleted. I mean, no one even was in contact with his phone until it was moved from the boat to the truck. And none of us have access to Nolan's password to get on his phone and delete anything. Absolutely not. And we have no reason to delete anything.
When we look at all of these different statements, most of them were truthful, but there's going to be one that I want to explore more. There is going to be question around the phone. I'm just going to let you know that. I believe that this is an area that needs a little bit more probing. It needs more. It's not a highly deceptive. It's just comes up as deception as has been indicated in here. So the opposite hand below while maintaining a tense posture, that one never moves. So there's that tenseness there. The head nods no at not, which is consistent. The vocal tone is slightly elevated and more emphatic in his tone. He says, no one touched Nolan's phone. If none of us had touched Nolan's phone, then there would be no reason for anything to be deleted. That one came up as 83% deception indicated.
Now, again, that is not non-scientific.
Right.
This is her thing.
Right.
And the second thing I want to say is, even if it came up as deceptive, it doesn't mean he did anything untoward.
Exactly.
Correct. And I agree with that 100%, but there's definitely some deception here for sure, without a doubt. And I'm not even an expert, and I've never seen that part of the video. And I was able to observe that with my lack of experience. But it's quite common sense. I mean, due to, somebody like myself who's interacted with thousands and thousands of people, it's very easy to catch, to be quite honest, if you're paying attention to those small details that could indicate that somebody's not being truly honest. So that is very, very, it's very, very, it's weird to me. I mean, I don't like that at all. And I just feel bad for Nolan, because he's really, in reality, doesn't even have close friends that are surrounded by, they don't even have good friends. So, I mean, it's good to know that we've discovered or stumbled across a friend that seems like he's a real good friend. And the only one that seems to be a good friend is Javon. And I'm wondering about Tristan a bit. I kind of feel like Tristan might be kind of a little lopsided, meaning that he would play both sides of the fence. Warren seems to be more one-sided, because he keeps describing, when it comes to their friendship, he keeps describing groups, or we. It's never really personalized as much when it comes to their friendship, because when you're close to somebody and you have a best friend, you're going to use the word I and he a lot, because there are certain things that you and your best friend share alone, rather than what you and your best friend and your other friends share. And the interview is about their friendship, not about anybody else's interaction with Nolan. It's specifically about you and Nolan's friendship. That's it. And you're supposed to prove how well of a friend you are to the world. Period. If you want people to believe that you guys have a legitimate friendship, then you need to share things that convince people you two are really close. Stating you going to elementary in middle school have nothing to do with you and Nolan Wells' friendship if you guys never went to school together in elementary and middle school. That has nothing to do with you guys' friendship. But it's almost like he's throwing something in there, hoping that you'll miss it. And just kind of trying to make it seem like they go way back in time, when in reality they don't. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It doesn't mean that he did anything untoward.
Mind you, and real quick, one more thing here. Mind you, the lady is using AI to determine her, her analysis here. It's not like she's really actually analyzing this guy, observing this body language to the T. I mean, now the last thing she mentioned was his deception based on how he's moving his hands and whatnot, which that I agree with. But this lady's inaccurate for sure. I'm not feeling her expertise here.
Again, this is, like you said, not admissible in court.
So ultimately, she evaluates whether there was foul play in Nolan's death based on what she's hearing.
Right.
And
to which she, at the end here, says,
well, let's play it.
Let's play
I
it.
mean, she has an opinion about this.
So do I think there's foul play? No. I do not think there's foul play.
So she says no
Get
evidence
this lady off the
of
show.
foul play.
Exactly.
And she's not saying there is or isn't. She's saying, based on what she's seeing, nothing is popping up.
Which is correct. She's absolutely correct, because if you're talking about specifically what's in front of us right now, then according to everything that we have, if we're not talking about any other friends and everything and the conflict amongst the friends, then yes, that would amount to no foul play. However, if you do consider that, then that changes things. And I'm specifically talking about the autopsies, because we haven't got everything back. Well, even if we have, they're not going to show that until they get in front of a grand jury. But however, yeah, we right now, I mean, literally where we stand right now, there is no signs of foul play. And that's why I wanted to play this video, because I did see the end part, and that part is true, depending on if she's talking about, as far as evidence goes, it does show that there's no signs of foul play. When it only comes to the autopsy, though, the fact that he washed up on shore is very questionable. I can't say that doesn't amount to no foul play, though. I don't know about that part. Just had to make that clear for the record there.
Exactly, to her. And again, this is a renowned body language expert. She goes into court and she tells judges, look, here is how you can evaluate professionals to take the stand, whether they're worthy or not. And, I trust her evaluation, and I think we can just keep our eyes peeled moving forward on what happens with the case for when the real facts come
I
out.
just want to say, in terms of trusting, I don't buy the science of this.
Thank you.
Well, Harvey, our chat doesn't agree with that either. They kind of think that the body language expert is already a little bit BS, but then the minute that she brought in using AI to kind of back up her claims, that it kind of invalidated everything she said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, this is T from Long Island.
My goodness.
I think this is a very interesting way of analyzing and interpreting this conversation. And I think it would be great if they just took an actual polygraph. And I know sometimes they say polygraphs are not admissible in court either. However,
no. That's not a good recommendation. Yeah, just take a poly just because, yeah. But I mean, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for, utilizing in court. However, it would be good. It would be good just to see what they are able to come up with. Yeah, I'll take that. But I don't know about a poly. And not only that, they're beatable.
do what's going to be the most credible thing. I mean, this body language expert, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
They need answers. The family needs answers.
And even polygraphs, you get false positive, false negatives too.
I think there's a good chance that Javon has already came forward. I think there's a good chance that he could be a big reason why the mother has even been more convinced as of, there, might be some foul play here. And his mother seems like she's serious. Like she doesn't play that at all. As in, you know, she made her son come forward and tell the truth and tell everything. Because it looks like that Christine, which is Nolan's mom, and the mother of Javon have somewhat of a relationship. And I think just due to that alone, she made sure Javon came forward. I don't have no doubt in my mind on that. I think Javon has came forward and said something to not only, Nolan Wells' mother, but I think he's also communicating with law enforcement. I think everybody is, for the most part. I think everybody's cooperating, quote unquote, with law enforcement. But that sounds good and everything, guys. However, it doesn't really mean that everybody's being honest with law enforcement. So just keep that in mind. Just because people are cooperating because they don't want to be suspicious, it doesn't mean that they're, doing the right thing. So I don't know. That's something to just think about, though. Now, as a Christine, when it comes to Nolan Wells' mom, she has been experiencing a lot lately. I know somebody had an issue saying that she's always smiling, that she does, people are questioning the fact of her, whether or not she's grieving. Just from my opinion, I'd have to say that there's really no way to grieve. And just keep in mind that grieving comes, it doesn't always come right away, although I think she's been grieving. I mean, I think she's grieved instantly. And not only that, she's a very strong woman, as we know. But I think grieving comes at different times for people. Some people go through very difficult times and it does not hit them until ages later down the line. So it's really hard to judge and criticize how somebody's grieving unless you know that there's some sense of guilt there. In this particular situation, I really can't say there's any guilt because she's not responsible for what happened to Nolan. So I mean, I don't want to throw her under the bus at all, but I know a lot of people are. Speaking of not only her being criticized and whatnot, but there also have been people who have tried to get Nolan Wells' mom fired from her job, which is just sad. It's just sad. People are really trying to get her fired from her very hard-worked, hard-earned job. That is just crazy. And it's so sad. I can't believe people are going out of their way to try to get Nolan Wells' mom fired. But individuals contacted her employer, and this is the part that most people don't really know clearly, but people outside the family emailed her workplace, called her workplace. They sent messages claiming she was involved. They tried to portray her as unstable or dishonest. And I can address that. I'm not, I'm somebody who empathizes. I like to put myself in somebody's shoes, but I also like to try to see both sides of the fence. And I can agree with that I don't think that she's been 100% honest about everything. But I'm not here to throw her under the bus or make her look like she's not a good mom and she doesn't really care about her son. That I do most certainly feel. But I don't think that her, his mom has been totally honest about everything. I would have to, be honest when it comes to that. But they've also attempted to pressure her employer to take action. They documented a pattern in the high-profile missing person cases online that mobs target family members. Christine herself said publicly that people are trying to ruin her life. They contacted her job. They attempted to get her disciplined or fired. Why they targeted her job was because the public face of the case, the one giving interviews, she's the one challenging parts of the timeline, which she should, because she's the mother of Nolan and she deserves to know what happened to her son. And anybody should go out of their way to get to the bottom of what happens to their child. No one deserves to lose their child or not know what happened to their child. But she's also the one that's been communicating with volunteer groups, and she's the one that's posting updates that some people didn't like. And when a parent becomes the spokesperson online, the critics have a tendency to, escalate from comments to the real world, to harassment. But this is exactly what happened. Her employer did not fire her, guys, despite all the harassment. She was not fired. She wasn't suspended. She did not, she didn't lose her job. Her employer recognized that. She was dealing with a tragedy. She's, that's what she's dealing with. She's got a lot going on. She's just being targeted unfairly. But we all know that these accusations that have been made against her are not credible at all. And unfortunately, whoever you are, your attempt failed. Unfortunately. No, fortunately, actually. But anyway, that's what's going on with her mom. And we all know that she's been, and that's sad. She's got to sit up here and deal with stuff online rather than, and she doesn't have to, she doesn't owe anybody a response, and at least she's able to get online to, express her thoughts, when in reality, she doesn't have to do that. But I think that's why people are starting to judge her more and, try to discredit her and make her look like a bad mom. However, I think she's done a phenomenal job, keeping her son's name out there. And to be honest, I think due to all of the updates online and people talking about her online, whether it's good or bad, it makes it look like she's online more than she really is. I don't really think this lady's online like we think. I think she's actively looking at stuff, trying to, dig up any information like we would. But I mean, at least she's online, and trying to keep the community updated. And, I think she's doing a good job. I don't think that, she's bad in any way. It's kind of sad to see this happening, though. Insane.
But apparently these are shared some sort of way.
I mean, to pull this up here, that was Fugitive TV. I am questioning, guys, if Katie was on that boat. Because remember in that dispatch, or I'm sorry, that CETO call, it appears to sound like a girl. Like I think I hear a girl in the background. We don't know who it is exactly. But it sounds like that could be Katie. Who knows? Pretty Cookie says, if you've never been in a woman's situation, how can one judge? I agree. Missy says, all are different, but threats wouldn't phase my decision to be here and say goodbye to my good friend. Yeah, indeed. I couldn't agree more. How you doing, Heather? Big welcomes. Thanks for chiming in tonight, by the way. Yeah, I agree. And I just understand people grieve differently. I know because of my own life experiences of losing close friends and whatnot too. I mean, I've been in situations where, it has taken me how do I put this in words? I haven't cried right away. And then I find myself crying super, super hard, like balled up super hard. I mean, I've lost a good friend who committed suicide at one point in time. And, I didn't take it so hard until I think the next week. And it sucks because when grief really hits, it hits. And, this one hit so hard, I was not able to put my emotions to the side enough to go to the funeral, and I regret that. But I could not. I just couldn't go to that funeral, man. I couldn't do it. So it's crazy. Insane though. Anyways, I believe Fugitive TV might have made a post, and I think he might have said that there's been some rumors going around that Katie might have been on that boat. I don't know for sure. I might play this video just to see what he's talking about here. South Fugitive TV, love the channel. But I might want to check that out and see what he's talking about here. Justice for Nolan Wells, man. Hopefully they get hopefully they get to the bottom of this here. I mean, I think this case is going to be solved, and I think that they are going to figure out very soon, you know, whether or not that there was any signs of foul play here. It's just a matter of time. I honestly think that they've got, if not all of it, pretty close to all of the autopsy done. Trying to pull up chat here. Yeah, it's all good. I appreciate that, guys. It's all good. Thanks, Misty. Thanks, Flicker. Yeah, it's all good. I know that, you know, we're gonna come to times that we lose real close people in our lives, so I understand that, and I try not to dwell. I try to reflect and just reminisce, and you know, I like to share my story to not only relate, but to you know, help others too. And I just hate when people even question taking their own lives, you know. And I think a lot of us blame ourselves when people take their own lives because we wish we were there to, you know, talk to these people to try to convince them not to do those things. So it's an unfortunate situation, but it happens. Justice says Christine did make a public speech and said we black ladies got to stick together. She's not even black. She's Filipino. That rubbed people the wrong way. It makes her sound racist. Interesting. She's definitely black. I'll tell you that. I will tell you that. She's mixed. I'll tell you one thing for sure, and you could probably research this. It'll probably be true, and I'll do it myself. Most people who are mixed with black, so when most people are mixed with black and another nationality, more people are more likely to favor black rather than admire or embrace all of their other nationalities. And that's what I try to tell people, because, you know, I've dated, I've got many friends who are mixed or biracial would be the appropriate word for it, to embrace your other nationalities that you have. So yeah, and you're not that complexion when you're Filipino. You know, they're not that complexion at all. I mean, I could see the Filipino in her if she is. It looks like she is mixed with Filipino, but she's definitely African American. But I can understand why that could mislead people. But you know, I encourage people that are mixed with multiple nationalities to embrace all of your nationalities, not just one. Neither one should be favored. All of them should be simply embraced. because I saw a statistic the other day too. I was trying to see if I could do some research on it to make sense of it. I was trying to find it. I don't think I could find it. I was trying to make a goal here, but it's for some reason not letting me. Huh. Oh well. Hey, thanks so much for the jewels, by the way. Big kudos. Thanks so much for the jewel. Christine identifies herself as Filipino American, not black. That's what she said. That's what she identifies as. I'll look it up here. I don't really think it matters, but I can look it up. I mean, she does have a son who's black too, so I will look it up here. Yeah, it states that she's a black woman from Mississippi, and she works as a medicine nurse practitioner. I don't know where you guys are hearing these reports, but if you guys are getting information from Facebook, you gotta, I would follow back up on that and try to get your information somewhere else. Social media is not a very good place to get valid news from, especially Facebook. Now X is different. There is some legitimate news on X and even Facebook and all platforms, but I don't know where you heard that at, but yeah, that is not true. I can look at, me personally being black, I can almost look at almost any person and tell if they're mixed with black most times. Not all the time, but a majority of the time I could tell when somebody is mixed with my nationality. It's not very hard. I mean, there's certain things that we carry, just like, you know, your own nationality for whatever you guys are in the chat. You can, at least for some, I mean, for us, you know, there's like our hair is different. What else here? Just certain genetics that we carry too. But mainly the hair is what kind of gives it up for me. But not every biracial person has African American type like hair either, so it does make it difficult. But just complexion a lot of times does it for me too. But yeah. Why do you think Christine said all black mamas should stick together? Yeah, I've never heard her say that, but I think you'll hear a lot of African Americans say stuff like that. But I think all people should come together. I just kind of hate when people separate the nationalities like that. I think it should be all, but that's just how some black folks are, and I get it. But it misleads some people who are not, you know, that race, which makes people who are not African American feel unwelcome, you know, when it comes to certain things. But yeah, I just wanted to address that. Nolan is not black, he's Filipino and Samoan. Are you trolling or something? I'm assuming you're trolling at this point, because that's not even an argument. I don't think you would troll. I don't see you trolling at all. I know you're a good person. I've seen you in the chat many times. Hey, if you don't want to take my word for it, that's fine. I don't mind at all. I was just trying to enlighten you and tell you. I mean, it's not that hard to tell. when somebody's mixed, or at least for me.
Having fun if this is Katie. Now, Katie does have the same tattoo on her arm, okay, that this picture has right here. They both either is
All right, so
a
check
color
this out
difference.
real quick. I want to show you guys something from Fugitive TV. Shouts Fugitive TV.
I don't know. It could be the lighting. But for what I'm seeing right here, and you see the side-by-side comparison, the one that's bending over, hers almost matches the guy's shorts. They're almost the same color.
No, I know you're not a troll. I just said, are you trolling? Because you don't really believe that Nolan Wells is black and you think he's Samoan. I've never heard anybody say that before, so I figured I'd ask you if you're just messing with me or something. Not in the sense of you just being a troll, because I know you're not a troll at all. That's why I mentioned I know you're a good person. I just don't know if you're just messing with me or not. But I do see that Nolan does look like he could be mixed with Samoan, for sure.
Now, when you go like this, and then you hurry up and switch that one on, and then so yo, look, it's the same. It does look the same, but when you put them side by side, just like that, then you can see there is a color difference. So is it possible that maybe this girl knows Katie? If this is really Katie, is it possible maybe this girl knows Katie and Katie was wearing the hat, having fun if this is Katie? Now, Katie does have the same tattoo on her arm, okay, that this picture has right here. They both got the same tattoo, all right? The one thing I did notice, though.
Wow. I mean, hey, I'm not going to lie. The hair length looks like it's the same, about roughly. I mean, I don't know. I can't judge it based on the way she's kind of sitting and standing up in the boat. And let's just analyze everything. I mean, I don't want to sound like crazy or anything, but even when you look at the nose, it looks the same. And I know you guys can barely see it. I guess I could maybe try to light it up. So if you guys need, just request, I'll do it. I don't mind trying to mess with the lighting because it doesn't look like the best lighting here. And I'll also zoom in here too. But let me know if you guys want me to run the lighting up a bit. You know what? I'll just do it and see if that helps at all. We'll pause it real quick. We'll leave it here. And but I think, I mean, if Gay went out, if he really went out to see Katie at some point in time, I mean, obviously she would be on their boat at some point in time. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh man, that's a big difference. Look at that. Okay. The body size seems about the same. If you look at the, look, we got to analyze everything, so don't think too crazy. So if you look at the breasts look about the same size. The neck aligns to me. I think that's Katie. Yeah, I think that's Katie. So this is supposedly Katie on the boat that they were on. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, I mean, everything aligns to me. Now, I don't know if she's smiling in this picture. I can't say that the smile looks like it's the same, if that's a smile. But she is, looking like she's having a good time versus the photo on the left, which looks like she's posing, which is two different things. But I don't know, man. Let me know in the chat. What do you guys think? It just looks like to me that it's that looks like it's Katie. Now, he is pointing out the fact that there's a tattoo. I can't quite see the tattoo running down from the top of the arm all the way down near almost halfway to the elbow and the actual forearm there. But it does look like it does. That's Katie for sure. I'm going to have to say that's Katie. Let's run the video.
In this picture, it looks like Katie has, it looks like a tattoo on her waist. It looks like there's a tattoo on her waist. And I also didn't see it. I don't see a tattoo on her forearm, but then again, the way this angle is. And if you look at this picture and zoom in, now I don't see one on her waist, but once again, it could be the angle. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I don't see it. So it's very hard to tell. Like I said, they do resemble, the faces do resemble each other. Now you see how she has the tattoo right here on her forearm. You guys see that? And then if I go back and show you this one. Now this picture, I don't know when it was taken, but.
Well, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. The forearm right there is turned into the body. So we're not going to, I don't think we would see that tattoo based on this specific picture here.
This is from May of her profile picture. She doesn't have the tattoo here. So could it be a friend that has the same tattoo? I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, you really can't officially confirm it's her. You really can't. You know, I haven't seen a post from her technically saying that, hey.
Well, hold on. That picture that we're looking at of Katie isn't the same day. So yeah, she's going to have on a different dress. It's not the same day.
This is what I posted. These are my photos. Nobody's shared that with me. So you guys out there that does a lot of searching, if you guys come across a post, go ahead and send it to me, okay? A white, like, baseball cap, okay? Now, this picture was taken at, well, we don't know exactly when it was taken, but it shows on the screen 5:35. That's what it shows on the screen. Then you have this picture right here. That officer.
Didn't they say they left around 5 o'clock? Yeah, that sounds about the right time that they said that they left, I think. Let me double back.
Tatum showed of the boat. All right. Now, this girl's saying that this picture looks like it could be Katie. Because if you look, she's got on the cap, right? You see the cap? The bikini, and if you look closely, now, is that Katie? Is that her on the boat?
It might not be Katie.
Officer Tatum showed
It looks like that's Katie
these
to
boats
me.
are towing each other back to shore. I don't know. I can't tell you, but this is what the girl brought up. Now, I do notice if you look at the picture right here, that's clear. Now, like I said, you look, you see the blue stripe or, the blue with the teal around her bikini. Now, we don't know if somebody else could have been wearing a similar bikini, because if you look at this one, this girl, she's got a similar bikini, but a different color pattern. Hers is red outlining with like a black and white checker almost. All right. So we don't know.
Allie, big welcome. Good to see you.
Would be her or not. Now,
not Katie.
I will say the colors.
The boys were gone before 5 p.m. Okay. All right. I can't argue with that. I don't know. I mean, as far as the time, yeah, I know. But I mean, I don't know if that's Katie or not. I mean, I can't confirm that based on these pictures here. But the tattoo seems like it might align for the specific picture that we were looking at here versus the one that he's pointing out there. You can clearly tell that in that picture, which is a photo that Katie took at a different time, you could tell it's a different time because she looks like she's at an actual beach based on, just looking at her on the I don't think the beach is like this, or I'm sorry, not the beach, the island is like where she looks like she's at in this picture here. But I truly think that picture is, I think he's got the right photo, I think, to prove that that's Katie. I don't know, though. That's just my opinion. Now, as far as the time, it does say that it's 5:35 at the top. According to when they left, the distress call, this is not the exact timeline. This is just something I generated through AI a while back. It says that the distress call came in around 4:30. Again, it's just AI generated photo that I got from Copilot, and so these boat locations are not accurate, just for the record. Although it's almost starting to seem like where that distress call came from was not on Horn Island, I will say. As far as the times, though, these are some of the accurate timelines that I don't think it's all of them based on the timeline. But it does look like that could add up as far as the time, because it states that they entered Fort Bayou at 5:52, and then this is at 5:35. It doesn't really say specifically what time that they left. We could take their word for it based on when they said that they left. However, I don't know. I don't know, what time they exactly left, at least when it comes to that timeline.
I don't see a tattoo on her forearm, but then again, the way this angle is, and if you look at this picture and zoom in, now I don't see one on her waist, but once again, it could be the angle. I don't know, but I don't see it. So it's very hard to tell. Like I said, they do resemble, the faces do resemble each other. Now you see how she has
very interesting. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Yeah, Justice, I could agree with that comment to an extent. I kind of agree and disagree with the comments. She says that I think that it's bad people have put out all these young. It fell off. So she says, I think that it's bad that people have put out all these young people's names and pictures out on the internet, and they are not even suspects. Now, I could agree with that comment to the extent only simply because of the fact that all of these stories are conflicting. No one's being honest. I don't know if a lot of these kids are in fear of their safety or they're in fear of being labeled a snitch. If it comes down to the fact that these guys are actually, or someone on that boat of the friends are responsible for what happened to Nolan. If it is determined that Nolan was, actually killed. Yet, yeah, I could agree with the fact that we don't know, and these guys are, or people, the public, some of the public is labeling these guys as possible, murder suspects, which, they shouldn't be labeled as that, but as of right now, they are possible suspects. But no one is as of right now. For all we know, it could be a parent. For all we know, it could be nobody, and this could just be an accidental death. We don't know yet. But with the little bit of experience I have doing crime, I do know that friends and family are the first people, just like in the Nancy Guthrie case, that they investigate. Unfortunately, a lot of these people's names are being publicized, so they're put out there in the public, but we know how it goes when it comes to crime. We know how it goes when it comes to people in general. People always, find a way to dig up information and put it out there. Also, I think it's hard to not put people's names out there when a lot of times in these cases, they need the public's help. And this case right now, from where it stands today, they definitely need the public's help right now. As far as names go, I guess we wouldn't necessarily need a name to really, I guess, help solve the case or get to the bottom of it. I don't know. But I guess I'm both ways with it, though. I say it's a bad thing and it's a good thing when it comes to, putting these people out there. Also, some of these guys have inserted themselves into the situation. It hasn't just been the public who's inserted all of these people in here. So do keep that in mind. Some of these friends are talking. Some of these people have came out. So it just depends on how you look at it. But I mean, some of these people really have inserted themselves into the public. So, yeah. But we just don't know anything. We really don't. It's unfortunate, and I wish we did. But at least we know, at least one of these people know. Yeah, I agree with the comment there from Marissa. Yeah, at least one of these people's stories got to be correct. For sure. I think Javon's talking. I think he's cooperating I think he's telling everything that he knows. I don't think he's trying to lie at all, and I don't think he wants to risk his freedom at all in any way. I just see it in his face. He looks scared. He looks like he's, really concerned about what happened to his friend, and he looks like he's going to do the right thing for his dear friend, Nolan. How you doing? Is it my happy place? I think that's what you meant to make the name. Big welcomes. Good to see you in the chat there. I like the name. The all know, but something bad happened, drugs or something. Point. Nolan's friends are getting death threats, which is not good. Which is not good at all. See, for me, I'm not somebody, and we're all different and to each their own. I'm not somebody who receives a death threat. And first of all, I take it serious. But I don't let it affect me to the point where I'm worried about someone coming and doing something bad to me. Now, you have to understand this is national, so there's going to be a whole lot of people that you could definitely have to very much so worry about, because you never know if it's a family member that is trying to get back at someone. But you also have to understand that no one really knows really what happened, but it could be somebody that really knows and they have a lot of insight, because it's more likely that somebody has a lot more information that we have, that is a lot closer to Nolan and lives in that town. But for me personally, if I get a death threat, and like I said, we handle things differently. If I get a death threat, and let's just say somebody calls my phone and they're like, man, I'm about to come kill you. The way I'd probably handle it, I probably wouldn't recommend. I'll tell you right now. But I don't really get too overwhelmed. I don't really overwhelm myself with it. I just keep my guard up, and I'll probably tell you, I wish you would. I really wish you would. Don't threaten me. Don't come to my house. Don't do that. I'm not threatening you back, saying, hey, if you come to my house, I'm going to kill you. I put my foot down. Like, I wish you would. You're not going to do anything. That's just how I am, though. A lot of the times, based on my own experience, I've never been in this experience here at all, but most of the time, 9 times out of 10, when people say that, they're not going to do it. They're not. It's almost like somebody who says they're going to kill themselves. Most times when people say they're going to kill themselves, they don't. They usually don't. It's the people that never say anything that end up doing it. So, I don't know. But I don't recommend it. We all handle situations differently. But I think people should really know to keep in mind that just simply what comes with being online. I know we all love to socialize and be here and have a good time, but just be aware that, being here online, people are going to try to get under your skin. They're going to try to come at you in ways that are going to, affect, you questioning and worrying about your freedom. I always keep that in mind. So a lot of times if somebody comes at me and says that, I'm probably just going to ignore you and probably just block you or laugh. I'm probably not going to laugh out loud. I'm probably going to laugh in my head like, oh God, whatever, man, whatever. Entertaining it and engaging it, I don't recommend because it could get worse from there. But personally, I wouldn't overthink it too much. Especially if you're not someone inserting yourself into situations that's going to make someone want to do that to you. Now, we don't know why whoever did this to Nancy did whatever they did. However, I think most people know what they've done to make somebody want to come and do that to them. And a lot of, there are cases, of course, where people do come and they just randomly murder people for whatever their own reason is, that makes them upset, enough to go do that. But in most cases, people have something going on they probably shouldn't that leads up to that.
Tattoo right.
Let me move this here. Right. Good point. Pretty Cookies says the quiet ones are always the ones that you usually have to worry about. Yeah. That's why I said, it's like somebody who, wants to, or that's going to commit suicide. A lot of times the people that say they're going to do it, they don't. But I'm not saying I'm not saying because of that, overlook when someone says anything to you, keep it in mind, but just don't let it affect you. Don't let it get to you too much.
Friend that I had on, his name.
Now, real quick before I get off, I wanted to show one more video here that I find a little bit not only disrespectful, but it was just wrong to me. Now, I know you guys are familiar with the guy by the name of Don Lemon. Love the guy, he's great. I think he had lost his job. Was it CNN, guys? I think it was CNN is who he used to work for. No, maybe it was somebody else. Or was it I don't know if it was the Today Show. I can't remember. I've seen Don. I've never really watched him like as a reporter. He's not like a fan that I watch. I'm not a fan like that where I, really watch him report when he was, working for the news station or whatever media outlet that he worked for. However, I have started watching him more now that he's actively, really on YouTube due to his loss. Now, if you guys have been in tune with him on YouTube, he's been going back and forth with Brandon Tatum. However, he recently just had a guy on his show, and this guy apparently is someone who knows Nolan. Did he address this guy? What happened? Hold on.
This is not, look, I'm not trying to disparage him. I'm trying to open up a bigger access, saying that, I know the dad and all that stuff. Someone who knew the family, someone who knew the people involved.
Oh, he did. So it looks like that's what happened here. So he messed up. Tatum got on his tail for this, and I knew he would. But I think Lemon interviewed the wrong person yesterday, and I think whatever he heard about this person, he thought that he was a reliable source when it came to digging up some information about Nolan.
What are you hoping from Mississippi?
By the way, he actually got an interview with Christine, Nolan Wells' mom. and she said she didn't even want to talk about Tatum. So Nolan Wells' mom does not like Tatum at all whatsoever because of the things that people find disrespectful that he's addressed. Not only has he been quite a little bit disrespectful toward the family, he's been one-sided, which we all know Tatum's taken the boys' side. But I think Lemon has interviewed the wrong person. And yesterday we saw that take place, or the day before, I think. I'm trying to find that video. But this guy, he acted like he knew Nolan Wells and the family and everything. And I knew he was lying. I knew this was a bad interview. You could just tell. And that's sad. I think this was about 4 days ago. I think this one is it right here. Let's pull this one up here. It's got to be this one.
The comedians are in the house.
Man, he even had comedians on the show. He's awesome. Did he take that video down? He might have taken it down, guys. Hey, I love you too, Missy. Thanks so much for the $50 super chat. Much, much love. Missy says, we love you, Juice, and thank you for all you do. God bless you, Misty. I appreciate that. I don't really see too many super chats. I think a lot of people only loved when I was at Nancy, so I appreciate that, Misty. It goes a long way. I think Lemon took that video down. But it's okay. We'll play this one because Lemon's going to talk about it.
His name is Emmanuel.
In this video here. So let me pull this video up real quick, and then this will be our last one for the night here. I think we'll follow up with calls tomorrow. I think we probably shouldn't even take calls tonight. Should we take calls tonight, chat? Should we do any calls? I don't think we should take any calls. All right, so check this video out real quick here.
Yesterday, a man came on the show. His name is Emmanuel. And listen, this is not, look, I'm not trying to disparage him. I'm trying to open up a bigger conversation about this. So yesterday, Emmanuel came on my show claiming that he knows the Wells family. He gave Nolan his first haircut and has been close to the people around.
Hey, much love, Missy Jones. God bless you guys. I appreciate it. She says, I agree with Missy. Join in prayer event 8/19, Nolan Xavier Wells' birthday. Wow, so his birthday's coming up. I didn't even realize that. Yo, thanks for sharing that with me. I did not realize that. That is crazy. I wonder what they got planned for his birthday. I should probably look that up. Shouts Missy, shouts E. Jones. God bless you guys. Shouts to all the members tuned in tonight here, and big thanks and salutes to all my mods here. I appreciate you guys sticking around on the channel, guys. Much love.
Case for years. Now, look, the Wells family says directly that he is not their friend, that he doesn't know Nolan or them like that, and he doesn't speak for them. So, look, Emmanuel wasn't simply offering memories about Nolan. He was presenting himself as someone with perhaps some special access, saying that, you know, I know the dad and all that stuff. Someone who knew the family, someone who knew the people involved, someone whose perspective carried weight because of those relationships. The family says it doesn't. Now, look.
No, I agree with your comment, Chris. I'm sorry to stop the video. But to Chris, I agree with your comment. He states that always have to check the facts and sources before you report anything to the public. That goes for anybody. Yeah, and we do have a tendency to do that sometimes. And I mentioned this the last two streams, and I'll mention it again. If I misinform anybody or I share any details that are not a fact, because I like to stick to the facts on this channel. And if I do speculate often, but I do make sure I state that before I start talking. Make it clear it's a theory and speculation. And not only that, what I've mentioned the last two streams was if I do say anything that's misinformative or I say anything that's non-factual, I always come back and make sure I debunk it. And if I don't, feel free to address it and let me know. And I'd be more than happy to do my own research right here live and debunk it immediately, because I don't want to steer anybody in the wrong direction and have them going around and saying that. I love Flacco. He's a streamer. He's always online. Just for example, He's always posting videos. He's going live a lot. He actually has 2 channels. And he mentioned the fact that the Cajun Navy was involved, and I was misled in the beginning that the Cajun Navy was involved in this case, as if they were, you know, accepting their help, but they did not accept the Cajun Navy's help with the Nolan Wells case. They have reported, as they usually do. However, they are not someone who's been accepted to help revolving around the sheriff. Just so you know, I've done some research on it, and I was shocked because I thought that the Cajun Navy was actively helping with this Nolan Wells thing, and I think they're helping. I think they're doing what they can, but they're not approved to assist.
All of us should stop, right, and think about things before we start accepting anything he says about this case. One, because of what the family says, but let me just say this. I'm not saying everything that Emmanuel said is false. I don't know that. I don't know what form the relationship he has with the family. I don't know that. I know what the family says, and I know what he says. Neither do you. You don't know. Credibility still matters here, though, so that's why I'm pointing this out. And credibility around him as well. When you step into the middle of one of the biggest stories in America, invoke a grieving family's name and speak as though you're carrying their trust, the public, I think, deserves to know whether the family
never heard of that,
agrees.
Texas.
I think that is a fair assessment.
Good morning, Bruce.
And in this case, they don't. That alone, I think, would have made yesterday's interview extremely memorable. And then we started talking about race.
Yeah,
And
they
you
had
know
a
how
they had a
that
pretty
is.
ugly race debate
Once
yesterday.
you start talking about race, it becomes a whole nother show. So we started talking about race, and then Emmanuel told me that people outside Mississippi need to stop bringing up Mississippi's racial history. He argued that Hollywood has convinced the rest of America that the South is frozen in the past. That was his, I'm paraphrasing here. He said the interracial marriages, mixed families, black and white people living together as evidence that racism no longer defines where he lives. And then he said something that really kind of got to me, right? He said, a quiet racist isn't really a problem as long as that racist keeps it to himself. He said, who cares? Okay. I care. I think every American should care.
So we make mistakes. I mean, Lemon's very successful on this channel, or on his channel. He's done great. I mean, he's got that background that's really gave him a really good push. But again, I mean, he had the wrong guy on his show. This guy was posing to be someone who knew the family, and it's quite sad. But I think he should have did a little bit more research on this guy. Maybe had a real good conversation with him, and I hope he probably did before he got him on the show. But he was totally misled, and it sucks. I mean, they got into it before they even got to the point of talking about Nolan, which is quite sad. And I think I found this video here.
I've been saying that people in the South, black people and white people, integrate more than they do in the North. But that's mostly about socioeconomics. Doesn't mean that racism is solved. It's because basically those people who live together are the same part of the socioeconomic group. So if you are mostly middle class people and you have grown up there, you are going to pretty much be together in the same places. But here in the North, it is about rich people who are all together. Most of them mainly are white because that's sort of, generational wealth. Most black people didn't have the opportunity to do that. But here in the North, it is more polarized than it is in the South. The South, I think, used to be segregated, but people are more polarized here in the North than they are in the South.
Now, I know you can speak on that better than most because you're from the South and you've been living.
So this guy really knows the family? I mean, he's apologizing, saying that he didn't. So what happened then? And I truly, when I was watching this guy, it didn't look like he did, but we'll listen real quick.
all over. You've been living in the North. So I can
Not
understand.
only am I
why-
from the South and living in the North, my family just left here, and we had a long discussion about this, and a long discussion about people who believe that racism is over, or just because people are what they're called, oh, there's race mixing. That's what the racists used to call it back. But people who are marrying interracial marriage,
Well,
they think that racism is over because of
No.
that, and it's not. But it doesn't mean that it is as bad as back in Emmett Till.
Right.
We made
Racist
progress.
people is gonna
Yeah.
always.
So Don was just being rude to this guy and not taking his word for it. Dang, I mean, Don's been real sassy lately, man. What's been going on with him? I mean, he's gotten in trouble recently. I don't know how that is, or if he's been innocent, or what happened with the case, or whatever happened to him. I don't know much about the story, but he's been kind of bumping heads with people lately.
Be with us. There's nothing you can do about that. That's why Jesus Christ suffered, bled, and died for that very same thing. Is because racist people gonna walk amongst you. But who really cares about the quiet racist? He's a racist and he's quiet and he don't say nothing about it. He over there. If he not bothering you, he can be racist over there. As long as he don't come and shove it down my throat, I don't care what he is over there, right? He's not affecting me. If he ain't affecting me,
You don't know that.
but
you don't know what that quiet racist is doing. You don't know who he's influencing. You don't know what kids and grandkids he's influencing. You don't know that.
But what I'm saying is,
You don't know who he's
when I'm
supporting. Maybe
speaking
he's
of
sending
quiet,
money to the Klan. You don't know.
But when I'm speaking of quiet, I'm talking about the ones who just keeping it to himself. You know what I'm saying? If he's quiet with it, I agree with what you're saying right there. I agree with that.
Emmanuel.
If he's helping
Emmanuel.
people be racist, that's a problem. And when I'm speaking,
But how
of
do you
being
know
a
that if he's quiet
racist,
about it? Quiet is kept. You know what quiet is kept is, right?
Hey, I'm just saying, man.
So Crybaby, as far as Occasion Navy knowing people, I don't know. I just think that they're kind of keeping quiet about everything for the most part, but they do know as far as Javon, from what I've heard, from what I've seen, she does know Javon and his mom. I mean, they interviewed together. So I think that's the one person that she's, not denying that, she knows that is a friend of Nolan's. Now, when it comes to Warren, she's never, and Tristan, she's stated that they've never been to her house. She didn't really specify much and say that she doesn't know them at all, I guess, but I think that's what she's pretty much hinting, that she doesn't really know them at all. When it comes to Tristan, I'm not too sure. I think she really knows him. I don't know if they had some tension and something happened, or she's upset with him. She's going through a lot, so I don't know if it's, and she's active on social media, so I think that she could get online and at least, say that she's familiar with these boys. She doesn't have to say that they're close friends. She doesn't have to give all these details, but and again, not to throw her under the bus, because I'm not here to throw Nolan Wells' mom under the bus, because I mentioned earlier that I don't think she's been 100% honest about, everything. And that's one thing that I think that she hasn't really been honest about. Like, I think, when it comes to some of these friends actually being friends of Nolan, they don't have to necessarily be a best friend. However, I don't think that they're, I don't know that she's being 100% honest about that. I think that some of these guys are really, actually somewhat of a friend to Nolan, and I think honestly, Tristan is he's friends of Nolan. I don't know if that I would consider him a best friend, because I feel like Nolan's a lot closer to Javon than he is anyone that has spoken out, that stated that they're a friend of Nolan's. But I think Tristan is a friend. But any other friend is questionable. I don't think Warren's close at all. Bart, I don't think he stated that he was a real close friend. And Wyatt as well. But we don't really know what's really going on behind the scenes.
I mean, bro, if you got a health problem and it don't show up on this blood result, then good deal.
Then eventually, one day, it's going to kill you. Even if it doesn't show up, even if you don't know about it, it's still going to kill you.
Yeah, Don was a little rude to him, and then he was kind of like acting like he was pretty dumb, to be honest, but which was kind of messed up.
He reminds me of them Hebrew Israelites.
You know, when they got the beards, they be like, but listen, brother, you got to understand that the quietness of the racism is just like bad health. And that's psychological because the Hippothites and the Mennonites came from Mount Sinai. And that is the reason why the black man is the way he is. And the white man comes from the Caucasus Mountains. And that same psychology goes within their violence. That's why there's nothing wrong with a quiet racist, my brother.
The physical
Anytime they got a beard,
autonomy of the equivocation
of the psychological prostration. See, brother, that's the problem with you brothers, man. See, I got a beard of knowledge. You see my beard? That's knowledge, my brother. And then the way I hold my hands means that I am more educated than you. And I'm trying to tell you, we came from China, not from Africa, brother.
She knows nothing about Nolan's friends because they didn't live with her. I don't think that's a good statement to justify the fact of them being a friend of Nolan's. And to the person's comment in the chat, we're not bothering the parents or putting them down in any way by being honest and stating that she could be more transparent when it comes to whether or not they're friends or not. That's not us putting her down in any way. Or discrediting what she's doing for her son in any way. And nor does she owe us to show us who's really Nolan Wells' friend at all. She doesn't owe us that. And I truly, to be honest, I really don't care who is his best friend. I just care that, these people come forward and just share the truth if anything's being hidden. She deserves that in all regard. But don't take it as me, putting her down at all. I'm not here to do that at all. But I will be honest and say if, I think somebody's being dishonest, but that's not me putting them down. And it's not me, trying to make it seem like she's doing something bad. I understand, as I stated, that there could be something going on behind the scenes that we don't know. But at the very least, these are kids who are worried about their freedom. And, we could also be honest about the fact that they are friends of Nolan. I don't think that's going to hurt anybody by saying that they're, a friend. Although, either way, it'll all come out. So it doesn't really matter. I think we'll all figure out everything when it comes to friends and who's close, who's not, and who's actually a friend. Will all come to light. So anyway, I want to skip this up a little bit because I wanted to hear his comments about the family. I really didn't watch this video.
No, that's racism. That's aggression.
I don't really want to hear.
But him preferring someone of another
babies with these white women. When does that go out of the window for as this racial component of Mississippi history years ago? How can we accept that history when it comes to
you can accept it by acknowledging the problem. You accept it by acknowledging the problem because people are sleeping together. First of all, people have urges, and people used to sleep with each other on plantations.
Which is true.
I'm just saying, the master used to sleep with the people on the plantation.
Sleeping with black women.
Why is he not?
The master used to sleep with the people on the plantation, women and men.
Right. I mean, I was out.
That's all about urge. That's a lot why people think race is involved or why it's involved. First of all, let's just be honest, Emmanuel. We know the history of the country. We do know the history of Mississippi. And one of the best indicators of what the present is and possibly the future is the history, right, of something, the history of your medical thing. You heard Al Sharpton say that at the funeral. When you go into the doctor and you say, this hurts or I have this ailment, and they go, what medication are you taking? What's your family's medical history? Okay, so you have that history in Mississippi. Not everybody lives in Mississippi. And so the people who are on the internet, the people who don't live in Mississippi, they see a black guy with all white guys and they go, oh, he's the only one that didn't come home. The history of Mississippi, blah, blah, blah. So people start putting two and two together, and that's why race is involved in this, because that is the history of America. Now, whether race played a role in his demise, no one knows that. No one knows that. But there is no denying that race plays a part in this case simply because of the optics. That's where the race part came in. That may be offensive to some people there, but the truth is often offensive. That is the reality in America. Yeah, yes, sir. You can ask me. We're here to have a conversation.
Yeah, it is. It's a Lemon's point real quick. I'm so glad he said that. The truth is offensive to people, as we just took notice of in the chat. You know, when somebody's not being honest, they're not being honest, and people think that it's not okay to say something about someone just because they're going through something. And, you know, I think that's just part of life, you know, even when we're going through tough times, that doesn't mean we don't share, you know, true things, you know what I mean? But that's just the way I look at it. Everybody goes about things, you know, different ways. But I also think that people need to, you know, respect the things that the way other people handle things, because the way you may handle something doesn't mean that somebody not only has to handle it that way, but also it doesn't mean that, you know, there's a specific way to handle certain things. But as to somebody's comment as well, you know, people, when it comes to the Nolan Wells case, people do deserve, or he does deserve, positivity in the case. Now, as far as somebody being dishonest, it doesn't really mean that, you know, it's making the case shift in a negative way. It just means, to me, it indicates that something could be going on that we're not aware of. But anywho, I'm gonna continue here.
1955, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
He died for whistling and simply looking at a white woman. Now we have went from there to making babies with these white women. When does that go out of the window?
I don't know when they talk about
as,
his relationship
this
with the
racial
family.
component of Mississippi history years ago. How can we accept that history when it comes to
You can accept it by acknowledging the problem. You accept it by acknowledging the problem and acknowledging the reality of the history of the country. You accept mostly about socioeconomics. Doesn't mean that racism is to be segregated.
I guess they never talk about the family. I don't know what part, what timestamp that is when they talk about the his relationship with the family.
Yeah, but also, look, Mark Lamont Hill used to tell me this all the time when he was on CNN. Yeah, huge Ku Klux Klan contingent in this country.
Yeah,
there's people who are part of the Proud Boy races. There are people part of.
It seems like this is mostly about race. I'm not trying to hear that part.
No, that's not. That's racism. That's aggression.
But him preferring something, he can control it. She can pick.
Oh God.
No, here's where the racism come in. If his daughter Brenda, that's
shortly after this here.
Someone.
Hold on.
Listen, I see what he was. Listen, like when black people be listen bigoted, yeah, or like
especially Andy, I'm
class citizen. No,
No, I'm not trying to discuss
happened.
racism.
Why don't you
I'm
just-
trying to get to the part where they were talking about his relationship with the with Nolan Wells, but I don't remember what
the
part
family
of the video
asked
it
Ben
was.
Crump to come in. It's not like he volunteered to do this, okay? So, and not that I'm defending Ben Crump. I'm just sort of explaining to you why race is, why people think race is involved or why it's involved. First of all, let's just be honest, Emmanuel. We know the history of the country. We do know the history. Sometimes people who are in relationships with people of a different ethnicity or a different background, they still have not dealt with racial issues. And sometimes, sometimes the love for people of a different ethnicity.
Anyway, I don't know. I can't find that part in the video. However, it's kind of hard not to talk about race in this specific case, guys. I have to be honest. Although I'm not a conversation I'm truly trying to entertain a majority of the time while covering the case, but because of the lawyer and the Al Sharpton inserting that into this situation here, it's kind of just up in the air with when everyone's covering this case. I mean, it always comes up, and it's unfortunate. It's really sad, and I always encourage everyone to not make that a thing until we get to the bottom of this, and if that. If it turns out that that's what, is what led up to, whatever happened to Nolan, then obviously it does call for a conversation. However, it just sucks that it was, brought up before we even got to conclusion in this case. But just keep in mind, when you do stumble across people covering this case, that's probably going to come up a lot because of that. But again, I'm not here to, cover racism at all. That's not what revolves around, this channel when it comes to covering crime. However, like I said, it's been inserted into this case, and it's kind of hard to just always go around it. However, I would love to get to this part of the video that he states that he's, some type of relation of the family, but I just can't find it. So I give up. I don't even want to sit here scrambling through a video that I really haven't seen close to most of it. But I did catch that part. I just can't remember what specific part of the video they addressed the relation that he has. And I think that's why Lemon really took this interview with this guy. But it went in a whole other direction than it should have. So it's unfortunate. Flicker Fades, he says racism still exists on every side, whether people acknowledge it or not. Indeed, yeah. It's just a topic that some people can't have without people are, have a tough time having a healthy debate when it comes to racism. I know it's challenging. Zona says Officer Tatum interviewed him, and it's not like this interview I have seen them both. Really? So he really interviewed him after the fact? No way. I think Flacco called it and said he was going to interview this guy, but I don't know if that was recently though. That's crazy. But Tatum did bring it up. He did talk about it. Maybe that's where I saw it, because he was talking about Lemon, pretty much getting the wrong guy on the show, and it just went all bad. But I can't recall that he interviewed him. I don't think he's interviewed that guy yet. But Flacco thinks he's going to interview him. However, I don't know if he really is. Did he interview that guy? Oh, he did. He actually did. Wow. Tatum's wrong for that. All just to stir the pot, I'm sure. Yeah, so he does claim to be
is that children's pastor? Why?
He does claim to be a friend of the family. And it comes down, I guess, who you believe. I don't really know if this guy came forward with facts or proved that he's a family friend. But he does say that he knows the family.
This brother said the same thing I said. Roll the clip.
When Ben Crump and Al Sharpton came to our state, I think one thing they did wrong was you can't come down here and start saying that our state is prejudiced. This is prejudiced place. This is the state that lynched and killed Emmett Till. Well, that was 71 years ago. And Emmett Till was killed for looking and whistling at a white woman. These days, it's so many blacks having babies.
Can you put the video on hold and find it? I think I found the version I'm looking for when he's talking about that. I think this is it. The one that Tatum plays is kind of getting straight to the point. Anyway.
With white people. White men are marrying black women down here. And my dad was military. That's how he's alienating.
I just have to get to the part here.
When I went down and talked to people there, they said the same thing he said, and they were white. Now, you get the live stream. He just did it. His comment section. Reading them up.
Doesn't end racism. Sometimes back in the civil rights movement, when people would say, hold up a mirror
to find justice. But you cannot walk into this town claiming it's racism. All these same state that killed Emmett Till, these racist white people. When that eulogy, I was at the funeral. That eulogy had to be
logo and roll the clip.
Prejudice. Hair mixed babies running around.
I'll find the part and I'll put it together tomorrow, guys. I'm not even gonna waste time trying to find the part on Tatum's channel either. I'm not even worried about it. I can't find it, but I'll find it tomorrow. I'm not. We'll find it another day. I don't even want to waste the time to find that part of the video where he's talking about that he knows the family. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with y'all because I thought that originally Lemon got the wrong guy on the show, and he was lying about, you know, knowing the Nolan Wells' family. However, somebody in the chat said he wasn't, that he was, you know, he was telling the truth. I don't know. I really don't know because I didn't watch the whole video. But I don't know. For me, I was under the wrong impression that this guy didn't really know the family like he said he did, just because of the way he was talking and the things that he was saying. But he just might. And I could be wrong, but hopefully he's helpful to this case if that's the case. When it comes to him knowing the family, but I don't know. I've never heard of this guy until now, so we'll see. Hey, Fin Fan, good to see you. Much love, man. Crybaby says he wasn't lying. Hey, I believe you. I just wanted to share the video, but I couldn't find it. But anywho, somebody says I didn't come here to talk about race. Oh, yeah, we're not here to talk about it either. But it might come up from time to time because this case is revolving around that. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, it's not going to be a non-healthy conversation if we do, because I know where that leads, and it doesn't lead to a lot of good places. So truly understand. FitFan says no disrespect. Just what happened? What I missed? This room is nothing but racism lately. Oh, I hope not, man. We won't allow that here, man. Flicker, much love. Thanks so much for all your love and support. I appreciate you tonight, as well as Missy. Shouts Missy for all the love and support tonight, and as well as Missy Jones. Just had to take the time to thank you guys. I truly appreciate it. And thanks for everybody's time tuning in tonight, man. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Much love. Good morning to all you guys tuning in. I appreciate y'all chiming in. Much love, folks. It's been an awesome night. Appreciate everybody stopping by and sharing their thoughts. I was thinking to open up the phone lines for a bit here, but it's getting pretty late, so we'll open up the phone lines tomorrow night. And we don't gotta open up the phone lines every night, so yeah. No, I know, Misty. I know you weren't being rude. I know that's not your intentions. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even gonna overthink it either. You're good. Flicker gonna call it. No, I think we'll take some calls. Unless you guys are really wanting to chime in on your thoughts tonight, we can take some calls. But I feel like it's not one of those nights where people want to call in. And we usually take calls every night too. So I think tonight we can take a break from it and do calls tomorrow. But I mean, if you guys really want to take calls today, we can. We definitely can open up the phone lines. Bruce you want to chime in, Bruce? The phone line's open. If you still got my number, you could just call in. I don't think I need to post a number. If you have it. If you don't, then I'll post it up here. Yeah, somebody really has some thoughts they really want to express and share. Let me know in the chat. I'll stick around for a little bit longer, and you're more than welcome to chime in. But otherwise, we'll call it a night on that note. If not, I truly don't mind, though. I got a little bit more time left before I call it a night here. Nobody's racist here. I agree. I don't think anybody is. And guys, we can have a healthy conversation. We can have a healthy debate when it comes to stuff. You know, that's what I like to do. I like to keep it classy, even though people say they don't come here to talk about certain things. You know, you don't have to necessarily come here to have a conversation too. Some people could come to just kind of chime in and listen. You know, and it doesn't have to, be, just don't make an assumption, don't make it seem like, or don't assume that it's going to go the wrong direction. I won't let it. Keep it healthy. That's important. Mr. Juice.
Hey, Juice. What's up, man?
What's happening, Bruce, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Actually, not too bad lately. Here's a thing that I wanted to bring up to you is that I appreciate that you're out here, and I know there's some others doing it too. But I appreciate that you're putting up these people. Um, it's not that like dance is not important, but you're showing, like this young man. You've talked about other ones. I know 857 has talked about other ones, but you know, it's good to bring to light. I pray for this family, man, that they get answers. But I just look, man, with all this love and hate and all this, that we go through. Um, I just want to thank you, man, for doing this. You have shown me ever since I started watching you, uh, what men should be like. Caring. You give a shit about these people. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to cuss on your show,
No,
Juice,
you're
but
good. You're good. I just don't. I just don't cuss.
it
You're all
happened.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
But
You're good.
I just want to bring it to the point that you care. So,
Man, I appreciate that, bro.
I'm glad that I know you.
Man, that means a lot, bro. Well said. I truly appreciate that, man. I feel like amongst my own self, I got a lot of work to do. And that comment you said, as far as representing how men should be, that means a lot, man. Because I beat myself up when it comes to that. So I truly appreciate that. I truly do.
Yeah. All right, Juice. Thank you, brother. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, always. It's a pleasure, Bruce. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Salute to you, brother.
All right, man. Salute. Shouts Bruce, man. Much love to him. I appreciate him. I think I met him on someone else's channel. I can't remember who it was, but much love to you, man. Much love, man. Great guy. Yeah, I got a long way to go, guys. I mean, I try to carry myself, as a man. I try to present myself that way. We all have our flaws, but I definitely have some things that I would love to address, adjust, and better. I think we all do, but still, it's the juice.
It's Misty.
Hey, what's up, Misty?
What's up? Bruce beat me to it. I was trying to call for him.
It's all good.
I just want to say I love you so much. I love everybody so much. Skin color does not matter. And I know you weren't trying to make a show about that, but obviously it comes up.
Yeah.
This world works. But I just want to make sure that you know how appreciative I am of you and everything you do. And you are a very classy man.
I try to be.
I love all you guys.
Hey, we love
And I'm
you
not
too.
going to go into, I'm not going to go into a conversation or anything. I just want to say I love you and I love everyone.
We love you too. I
And thank you.
appreciate that. Man, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Likewise.
Bye.
All right, Misty. Shouts, Misty, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all just chiming in to just spread the love, I appreciate it, man. You guys are one of a kind people, man. Like I always say, you guys make this what it is, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing, man. This is y'all make my night every single night, man. It's truly an honor to get on here and not only just cover these cases, but just know you're surrounded by so many good people. And I know we all get frustrated sometimes, and some things are not easy to do, like certain conversations, because we know what certain conversations bring. But I truly enjoy everybody's company. I really do. I really do. Man. Feels good to be loved, feels good to be liked. It really goes a long way, and I try to reciprocate that same energy back to everybody. And it's not always easy to even do that, because some people are misled. Especially me being the straightforward guy that I am. I can be honest, a little too honest sometimes, and mislead people and hurt people's feelings by my honesty, or sometimes I'm too honest to the point where people, disagree with what I'm mentioning, and that's okay. I mean, it's part of life. I can't expect everybody to disagree, but on a healthy tip, we all have to be able to agree to disagree and just move forward, But much love, guys. I appreciate y'all chiming in and calling in. I really do. I think that number's up there. I'll take maybe one more call if somebody wants to call in. I think we're getting close to bedtime here. I work in how many hours? About 4 hours. So 3 hours of sleep is not healthy, but it's good enough for me. I don't know why I don't like to sleep long. I don't know why I don't ever go to bed early. Tonight I was like, you know what? Tonight I'm going to bed early. I'm not even going to stay up late tonight. I'm not even going to get on. I'll just stream tomorrow. Something told me, you know what, Juice, just get on tonight and just keep on going. I know people want to probably see me covering the Nancy Guthrie case. And I love to see me covering it too. I want to continue covering it. And as I will. There just hasn't been too much going on. So I figured, people were requesting that I would cover the Nolan Wells case, which it's had a lot of challenging things that I did not see before even covering it, and race was not one of them. So it's been challenging. That at least that side of this case has been the challenging part. So, but I'll overcome. I think it's even cost me to lose a fair amount of subscribers because of the whole race situation. But hey, we live and learn, and I got to deal with what comes with YouTube. We win some, we lose some sometimes. But I want to get back to covering Nancy too. I wanted to kind of cover both, but I figured there's been a lot of developments with the Nolan Wells case, so I figured the focus would just be on one tonight. And then moving forward, of course, we'll probably get back to Nancy too tomorrow. I'm sure. It hasn't been too much going on besides me hearing the fact that law enforcement or the task force has been out there. But I still have the same hope that I do for any case that I'm covering, and that's simply justice and just closure when it comes to the family, and bringing Nancy home. Whether she's alive or not. And I don't think I'll ever lose that hope when it comes to this case being solved. And just understanding how long it could take sometimes. People go missing, or, they're not, cases are not solved for years, and we're not even anywhere close to that in this case. We are at that 6-month mark for Nancy, but it's not, we're not even close, I don't think, to cold at all, so it's got a long way to go. Do I think it'll be solved soon? It's questionable. I don't think so, though. I think this case has still got a while to go before this case is solved. Now, somebody told me earlier, they said, I think that something's going to happen in September with the Nancy Guthrie case because of the fact that Alex's court date was pushed to that day. So somebody said, well, they're just trying to keep you guys out the neighborhood. That's why your court dates keep getting extended. Because something's going to happen there. But I've heard that so many times, there's no way I could be convinced that something's going to happen there. Now, I'm hearing there's a new fresh set of eyes amongst the law enforcement or task force that's, involved in the case. And I really hope that pushes this thing in the right direction to the point where we are going to, solve it. Because I feel like we haven't been moving anywhere at all. So I really hope that is the outcome. I really do. I appreciate you too, FinFan. Much love to you. I'll post this number one last time. Chris says, Flickr, call in so we can sing Mom happy birthday. Ah. It's her mom's birthday? Oh, today's my mom's birthday. She says I need to bake a cake. Hey, Tell your mom happy birthday. Happy birthday from Juice to Flicker Fade's mom. Wow. I bet she's still young, too. She's probably just turned like 35. It's crazy. Well, hopefully you and Gertrude plan something special for her. Does Missy have a channel? I don't think so. She should, though. She should consider it. Not everybody likes to stream, and it can be challenging, but she should. Misty, do you stream? I don't know if she streams. I don't think so, though. She's got 143 subscribers. Without even streaming, she's doing dang good, that's for sure. Sheesh. Okay, Misty. Wow. Let me make sure I save her number. I try to save everybody's number. Let me make sure I save Bruce's number before I get off here. So that way when you guys call me, I kind of know who I'm talking to or who's calling. And then I think it was Bruce's his number starts with a 4. Let me just make sure I lock that in here. And you never know, I might need to get a hold of you guys or something. And it's kind of good so you know who you're talking to. And then if I ever start doing panels, I could always, custom panels in the sense of like just doing like panels where only, certain people are invited. That's a good perk to be able to reach out to you guys for. That'd be dope. All right. Let me just throw that on there. Yes, indeed. When is the pizza shooter court date? I'm not sure. Indeed, Nina, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight, Nina. She says to Flicker, have an amazing and blessed day with your mom. Indeed. I hope you have a good day with mom's Flicker. Much love. I got 1 sub and I want to get rid of it. Anyone know how to do it? Come on, Pretty Cookie. That's all you. Hey, nah, keep that sub. You can't. Anyways, I don't think you can stop people from subscribing to your channel. Good morning, A-Hope. Good to see you. Players for Ted and his wife, indeed, and the little one as well. Yes. Indeed. Travel welcomes. What's going on with the Empire Pizza shooter? Oh, that's the you guys are talking about. I don't know. Good question. I haven't heard anything on that. I could not tell you when it comes to that at all. I did report it the first day or so, but I'm not so sure. I guess we could check real quick before I get out of here.
They shut the gate too fast. Call it peace, call it class. But I see who they wave through, and I see who they ask to move. Porch lights on the same old block, same old story, same old talk. If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us, and the fear they feed will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight.
You know, what's interesting is he was in critical condition initially when he first, got shot down by the police. So as of for the active shooter, for the massive shooting that took place here, he is actually currently, I think, still in the hospital. However, he is stable, which is surprising. I thought, and I'm glad, he didn't die. However, he is currently stable, and it looks like this kid's gonna survive. From what it looks like, he's gonna survive this thing, which is crazy. Because from the way it sounded like this guy was not gonna make it. Amazing. Now, when it comes to any updates or anything like that, I gotta be honest, I really haven't been in tune with this particular case here. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, there was a massive shooting which took place downtown here in Tucson. Give me 1 second here. I want to see if I can get back to my video here.
Round down here.
1 second, guys. I'll share what happened here, and then we'll hop off for the night here. As far as I remember, there was about, I think it was about 9 people that were injured.
Yeah, 21-year-old.
All right. So we're done with the calls here. We'll end it on that note. Shouts to all of you guys that called in. I appreciate everybody calling in tonight. It's been a pleasure too. So there was recently a shooting here in Tucson, Arizona. I went out and covered it the same day. Like I said, as far as I know, he is in stable condition. So his name is David Leroy. As you see right there on the screen, he's 21. It's just crazy. He's identified shooter by Tucson police. Surveillance video shows him, firing multiple rounds in a crowd. He tried to run. Officers ordered him to drop the gun. He didn't comply, and the officers shot him. He was hospitalized in life-threatening condition. He faces 9 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 9 counts of aggravated assault causing serious injuries. 1 count discharging a firearm at a structure for charges that may be added, which in this Telemundo release, he was charged with 19 total charges. This is crazy. He does have a criminal history, guys. He fired a rifle at a car wash employee in 2024, which we all know, and he should have, not even had a firearm that day. He shouldn't even have had a firearm at all. So he's convicted but received probation instead of prison. And there's been quite a bit of a major point of controversy, but police say he caused confrontation between 2 groups who knew each other, escalated into a gunfire. French fired multiple rounds into a crowded area, which is pretty stupid. We saw people getting hit over there at the Empire Pizza, so that's why these guys in the chat are calling it I think they were calling it, what are you guys referring to it as, a pizza shooting or something like that? But anyways, the 9 victims that were shot are all expected to survive, and that's the good news. So just for the record, the current status when it comes to this guy who decided to open fire downtown here in Tucson like an idiot, he is in the hospital, but his condition is stable. Now, Any other updates, I'll maybe if you guys remind me and it comes to mind, I will definitely inform you guys. However, that's where we stand. I mean, he let go of that whole clip too, guys. That whole thing. We could try to count. I think he released that whole clip. So right here, he's withdrawing the gun. And let me see just real quick here if we can slow this down before I get out of here. Let's play back speed. Let's slow it down. And let's see how many shots we can get through here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And the clip is gone. 15-round clip. Wow. The whole clip. I don't think he had an extension. It doesn't look like it, but it's very hard to tell. He literally let that whole clip go. In an open area downtown. What an idiot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, 15. He's got a 15-round clip. The whole thing. Wow, insane. Tragic situation. Had I was downtown, I don't even know. What would you guys do if you guys were down there and somebody opened fire like that? You know, would you run? You know, would you run and go get help? Would you just duck down? I'm someone in a situation like this where I don't really just get down with people. I'm a little bit different in these situations just because I'm me. I'm different. Because I've been in situations where people start shooting. Like, you know, we've all grown up going to house parties and whatnot at one point in time. And in these situations, you know, I don't get down immediately. I like to look around to check my surroundings to see where the shots are coming from. But that's just me and how I handle it. I don't recommend you handling it that way. But personally, just on life experiences, I personally do not just drop down instantly. I personally like to know where these shots are coming from for my own safety reasons. But how would you handle this situation? You know, I wonder how people in the chat would really go about this here. If you had a gun, would you fire and try to, you know, be a hero here and take this guy out? Luckily, law enforcement was just right here when it happened, you know? Personally, I mean, I guess, you know, if I was at Empire and one of my friends got hit, I would have very much so probably tried to, you know, for one, you know, get my friend out of the way so my friend is safe. Two, I'd probably try to help anybody else out as well. I don't even think you would have to be a friend. You wouldn't. You know, I would definitely help anybody and everybody to make sure they're safe and out of the way for wherever those bullets are coming from. You know, you could always be at any time. It just goes to show you can just easily like that be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and your life, no matter where you go, your life is in danger. Especially when you go out and have a good time. You can't even hardly go out and have a good time anymore. It's really sad. Really, really sad. Prayers to anybody who has you know, experienced this situation here, and to the people that were out here downtown, my prayers go out to them, and I hope they're all right. It sounds like everybody's gonna survive this situation, so but prayers to a speedy recovery for those who experienced this. Man, it's sad. What a tough situation. Now, personally, I do. I mean, you have all rights to carry here. Personally, I do. I just recently started carrying because of stuff like this. I was shot at last year, and the bullet missed me by this much. Never gonna let that happen again. So I probably would have shot this guy that night if those bullets came my way, without a doubt. But like I said, law enforcement was right there right away. So thank God, because I definitely probably would have shot this guy if only if it was safe enough to do so. But when you shoot a guy like this, you're risking, just like he's shooting at other people. It's not easy to hit people from the distance that he's shooting this gun. Close. If it was close encounter, I would have surely shot this guy. However, it's not. And it's not very easy to shoot somebody with a firearm. Now, a rifle's different, but a firearm is very hard to shoot from a distance. So you better be good if you're going to hit your target from that far away. That's why firing from far away with a firearm is very dumb. So yeah, but that's why it's good to practice firearm safety and go practice, because that's what happens when you just fire a firearm freely with probably hundreds of people around. I think Interview Room thinks A&T are involved for sure. Anyways, guys, feel free to join me for a prayer if you'd like to chime in on a prayer here before we chime out for the night. Much love to you guys all for being here. I appreciate all of y'all being here. I'll say a quick prayer for those out there. I didn't start it with a prayer, but I definitely most certainly could end with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just wanted to take this time to remind everybody and express my thoughts through prayer. And I just wanted to say I'm just forever grateful for all the people who continue to show their love and support and remind me how much they believe in this channel here and myself. And I just want to remind you, Father, I'm just grateful, and I believe in everyone the same way they believe in me. I just want to pray for the people who are going through hard times and the people who experience, someone in their life who they dearly love, that they would love to find, and someone that they just truly, would love to get justice for and the closure that they deserve. And I just want to grab your attention tonight, Father, to watch over them and, help them through this hard time. And anyone else who may be experiencing those times, and continue to watch over Nolan, his family, as well as the Guthrie family and the folks in the chat. And just keep us all safe, Father, and continue to watch over us all. In dear Jesus' name, amen. For all of our people going through rough times, for all of the missing people out there, I just, of course, would love to take a quick moment of silence. Guys, that's it for me. I will see y'all guys in the next one. I'll see you guys all mañana, tomorrow. Much love, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe. Have a good day tomorrow. It's Friday. The weekend's here once again, baby. God bless, guys. I'll see y'all next time. It's your boy, the Juice. Shouts to everybody for being here, guys. Until next time.
If your skin says you don't belong, they can make a wrong look strong. But the fences don't define us. And the fear they feel will blind us. Every face they try to hide still stands right here tonight. Keep us out, keep us out. Keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Keep us out, keep us out. Keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down. Names get tossed like stones. From a driveway built on loans. They pointed brown hands first, then pretend they don't rehearse. But the steps on every street carry more than whitewashed dreams. We belong where we stand, no permission in our hands. Yeah, and the silence won't protect you when the pattern keeps on showing. Every wall they build in pride makes the truth come back alive. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. We know what that is about. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Keep us out, keep us out, keep us out. Your fear won't right the route. Keep us out, keep us out. We won't bow down, 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 down. Let it crack, let it show. Every lie they try to grow, one by one, the voices rise.